Just awaiting core PCE data coming through for the month of January. Expected to be a little bit on the hot side, but no number yet. We'll pass that along as soon as we do get it. As far as everything else expected this morning, goods trades balance. We'll also get the month-over-month PCE number, retail inventories as well, set to come through here. Some of this a little bit delayed. There we go. 0.3%, so downside print there. Good to see. For core PCE on the month-over-month for January, 0.3% versus 0.4% expected there. Personal spending, a negative print. That's the first time we've seen that in quite some time versus 0.3% expected. The year-over-year number dead where it was expected, 2.5%, but also unchanged over last month as well, was 2.5% there. Retail inventories, as I mentioned, a little bit of an uptick, 0.4% versus 0.1%. On that note, 2.6 there for the headline number on the year-over-year core PCE versus 2.7 expected, so a little bit better than expected on the year-over-year print there for PCE. Yeah, Dell, one of many. We'll talk about that coming up, but Dell pretty ugly here this morning to the downside, getting hurt on a forecast number that missed expectations. There's the overall market trying to hold the Qs anyways, trying to hold 500 right now. A little bit of a bounce off that dramatic and pretty violent sell-off into the close yesterday. All due to, I mean, if you look at some of the ETFs, tech specifically, but semiconductors specifically, getting hit the hardest yesterday. There's NVIDIA trying to bounce, 117 holding for NVIDIA right now. Lots of headlines to deal with this morning as we get going on a Friday. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, lots to talk about today, Brendo. Bitcoin dropping below 80,000 yesterday briefly into that 78 and change. We'll keep an eye out on that. As you mentioned, NVIDIA in focus. Dell reporting yesterday. Not a bad look. They beat on the top and bottom line for the current quarter, but the Q1 for 2025 was light. But full year 2025 actually beat expectations, so we'll see if they can recover. Meta very much in focus today, launching their own standalone AI app for Llama, as well as these new Aria glasses, Brendo, that are still in research mode, and OpenAI raising money again, and another eye-watering valuation of $340 million. Microsoft getting access to that new 4.5. Altman took to X yesterday to kind of give you an idea. It's not going to beat benchmarks, Brendo, but apparently it's more human than any of these other LLMs.
I think it gets to a point where they start going in that direction more so than the actual processing power. I noticed even O1, which is supposed to be the highest reasoning model that's available to everyone right now, was a little bit different yesterday. Some of the responses I would get versus what it used to be was a little bit different yesterday.
They're always tweaking it.
Might just be just a one-off thing, but changes to come, as you said, for ChatGPT right across the board. I mean, it gets to a point where how much compute power do you actually need? I mean, when you're solving very complex and high-level problems, will take a lot, but on a day-to-day type of use basis, I mean, they're already fantastic.
He's complaining a lot about that. He can't get his hands on any of these GPUs. He took to X or Twitter, whatever, yesterday to complain that he can't get enough of them, and it's costing him so much just to run this new 4.5 model. It's a problem I think that NVIDIA likes. He doesn't like that.
On the back of what we heard from DeepSeek as well, and the lack thereof compute power needed. Anyways, yeah, nice uptick here, guys, on these numbers at 8:30. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everybody. It could be a little bit happier.
Thank God.
Wasn't that big of a...
Thank God those numbers came out a little bit as expected there, because
a little help.
A little hotter than I mean, big time problem. Yeah, NASDAQ just went green, so that was nice. So welcome to Friday here. Yeah, there it is right there. I was like, I came in, I was like, oh my God, we're starting already. We started up at this high. We got this high right there of 20,685. And then all of a sudden it was just like, ramp, reject VWAP, reject VWAP. You know, make lows, come right back. I was just like, oh man, I'm exhausted, but we'll see. Yeah, some nice little bump up right there, up into this level. We'll see. NVIDIA was 117. I don't know how far we got past that. Yeah, 118, so we just went up about $1. So this name continues to get hit there today as well. Everyone's best friend, AMD, is now underneath $100. We just got to stop right there. We're not stopped at, but just stopped at 100. Now we'll wait till we see if it comes back in there as well. Palantir's down to $80. Bitcoin, you can see down here, 81.1. I think it went to 78 or so there overnight and just recently. So yeah, man. Meta, I mean, you mentioned that. I mean, everyone, you got a chatbot, I got a chatbot, everyone got a chatbot right now. And I mean, at the end of the day, as the guys were just mentioning, you know, where's going to be the use cases? Why would you use this one over another one? Grok was just released. Apparently that's great. ChatGPT is great. Perplexity is great. Llama's great. They're all great.
Everyone has to have one. That's sort of the thing.
It's just like
You got to tick the boxes because you need to have it because everyone's going to use it. So, you know, I don't think it's a huge story for Meta. I think Meta's win will probably be the death of the next one might be the death of the PC. But look, Bitcoin, the good news is we're back above 80, but like to tackle that 78 level, you got to think about, when we sort of talked about this, those big levels that we broke away from on the daily. Like the second you lost the shelf here at that 90 to 91 area, remember how long we were in that consolidation before the breakout. So that's going to be about 73, 74. You know, if we can't hold this 80 level, that's a gap that is almost like, to me, like begging to be filled. But, you know, I'm not terribly concerned in the long term. I think you always have to have this view when you're looking at Bitcoin. There's a lot to watch. Rocket Lab got smoked a little bit here. I don't have a good pun for it. I don't want to use crash or anything like that. Down 15% for Rocket Labs. And keep in mind, like Dell, while down 3%, it kind of psyched some people out because initially it looked like it was going to be upside on Dell. And it was down only 3.5% when I sat down, now down 7.5% for Dell after initial up move that you saw on the aftermarket show last night.
nice.
Yikes.
Yeah, wild one there. Yeah, Dell, yeah, earnings were okay. I mean, Rock Lab was a big one. Dell was there. Autodesk. There's a couple names that we could definitely look at here today. So NVIDIA just went for a jog. I mean, it just came up to 119 right there. So that was nice, like a little $2 bump upside here. I'm still looking to fade the 120 if we can come back in on that one. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun day, I think. You know, we've got Obi will be here again. I don't know if he's gonna be on the show, but he'll be around, and everyone's excited for his big day here today. And then after that, we'll see what winds up happening in this market. I don't know if we have Michael Noss coming on or not, but we should, you know, talk more about maybe the broader market here. Yeah. Crypto 81.6. I mean,
well, good news for Michael.
What's that?
The SEC ruled that meme coins are not securities. So some clarity there. So obviously that will mean that you don't have to worry about Fartcoin being ruled a security. So
thank God for that.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big a news. Actually, the one moving, Solana's making a good move and a bounce right now.
Someone said that. That has been absolutely destroyed. That went down to 120 or something crazy. It was just 250. All right, so yeah, there's Bitcoin right there. 82 is the 200 period moving average. The last time we were anywhere near there was October. So yeah, just nasty. I mean, it's trading like the broader market, right? I mean, a lot of these levels are back down to October, November levels, sort of pre-election, and then post-election, obviously you get that huge bump up. So these are kind of the levels I think people are looking at here. 70,000, there's November 5th. So that's election time right here. We'll see if maybe we can come right back in. I thought Trump was supposed to be the king of crypto here, so we'll have to wait to see if there's something up the sleeve to get this going as well. There goes NVIDIA. Look, it just got faded again right there off VWAP. So 119 did not hold upside there for crypto. So sticky notes out. Everything's ready to rock and roll. We're ready here today.
Just reading through some Canadian GDP numbers as well. Actual is 0.2% versus negative 0.2% expected. So at least it's positive at this point. We'll take that. Microsoft with a little bit of an uptick there, back to 395. We were talking about ChatGPT a little bit. I mean, there's so many things to touch on here this morning. If you zoom out a little bit on the China angle as well, I mean, we talked a little bit about Chinese AI specifically yesterday, but we get this headline this morning. Xi comes out and says, of course, they're going to retaliate to any kind of additional tariffs, as, of course, everyone's expecting them to. That the U.S. may put on 10%, rumored to be that number. Whether or not that happens, when that happens, remains to be seen.
And he slapped already 10% already February 4th. He wants to slap another 10% March 4th. In addition, Brendo, to that 25 that he already had from the first term that Biden kept in place. So a bit of a tougher look there. Now, expected countermeasures here are going to be higher tariffs on U.S. imports. They want to add firms, specifically U.S. firms, to these unreliable entity list, and tighter export controls on critical minerals. We talked about this, rare earth elements and the like. China's a big exporter of that, and the U.S. definitely doesn't have that enough to support its industry. So we'll have to wait and see how this all pans out. He was with Keir Starmer yesterday, the Prime Minister of England, UK, whatever, and it seemed pretty cordial. He was able to work himself, Keir Starmer that is, out of tariffs, at least for now. They might strike a trade deal. So you kind of feel he has that inclination to threaten tariffs and possibly get a deal. He's doing it with a bunch of different countries.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Macron in the White House going back to last week as well, talking about the same thing. Just keeping an eye on the market here. There was a note from the Wall Street Journal there going back to that PCE number at 830, the 3-month annualized rate, basically unchanged. So yes, the headline number on the year over year and the month over month headline number, 0.1% downtick, but the 3-month annualized average essentially going forward unchanged. So overall, I mean, the market not really moving on that, but worth noting there. So, I mean, all of these kind of looking like this. There's BABA this morning, big move to the downside once again. XPeng, very, very similar story, trading down here today after 2 days to the upside, guys. The gaps continue.
Oh, yeah, but the gaps on the Chinese ADR charts are always a little bit extreme, and it's not like it's comical or anything, but you almost are never opening up, although you did the last couple of days, at the same price. So you're just gapping from level to level, but you do get to see at least some supply zones. So 128 here in Alibaba. This is the one I'm watching. It has a nice recent floor at 120, 125, where it spent a couple of days down in there, a close, and then a couple of days supporting it. So I think that's the bigger, like higher time frame level. Today, you look at the 128 and then the 125 for a bit of bounce zone. But I mean, basically nothing was spared yesterday, and it makes a lot of sense. You're going to see this gap down. Look, man, you get the extra. It was 20 before, plus 10, and then another 10. So the tariffs are going up. And then remember, there was a threat of like 60% on China originally. So there could always be more, and it's not like none of this. Like, it's not coming out of nowhere. That's the sort of the thing. Like, we know this is possibly going to be the case, so the roller coaster ride is on, and we're having fun with it. The weird thing about it for the roller coaster ride, I'm not making this up. I had a dream about like a new roller coaster yesterday.
Oh wow, good.
And it was like this weird version of Drop Zone where like you're basically on like it's a platform, like a small platform the size of like one person.
Standing up.
You're standing up and you're holding a thing and you're basically harnessed in. And then when you get all the way to the top, then like there's a chair that follows you. Then you get in the chair and it just drops you. So like when you get to go up. As if you're standing watching. Well, I think it's an incredibly unsafe idea.
Yeah. Well, they'll figure out how to make it safe.
My daughter was going like when she wants to build roller coasters when she grows up, wants to be an engineer.
Yeah.
So like she's always like talking about different designs. So it was on my brain before we went to bed. And
she's thinking about something.
I love that. Like it's like. I can't wait till the weather's better. I can get back to Wonderland, ride some actual rides. She's now big enough to ride almost.
Right, that's the best part. Yeah, now you don't have to hang out in the kids' land or whatever they call it, Hanna-Barbera land or whatever that land is called, over there in Wonderland. So it's a man that could probably buy all the theme parks in the world, and not probably, I mean could. The amount of money that's been wiped out since this guy has focused on Doge apparently has not been nice. And I mean, all the way back in here into 280. It's like when you're looking at some of these stocks, everyone thinks like, you got to get, when there's blood in the streets is when sort of we're supposed to be in there buying, right? I mean, it's the Warren Buffett sort of analogy there that, when everyone's thinking doom, you're thinking party on. But, it's come into some key levels here that this looks like a great long to me. It's just like I don't, lower sales, all the rhetoric with politics and like how many straight down days now for Tesla? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, it's not just Tesla. It's a lot of these big Mag 7 stocks that have been getting hit like this. But you are right back at a level here where I think you could probably buy this thing up. I wrote down Tesla today. It's not on the sticky note, but I do have it looking at this level, and I want to let it settle down. The mistake that we've been making early is just getting involved in some of these plays as they've been happening and then not letting it settle down. And just to make the money back, like you lose it early and then make it back after being patient. But like look at Amazon yesterday. It started off rocking up to 220 and it had the new chip and everything was looking great. And then all of a sudden, like nothing changed in the world of Amazon except for it dropped $10, you know, like out of nowhere. And then you start to think about levels that you like. And then all of a sudden, those levels don't even think about holding. And then even that bottom, which we were able to catch, you know, eventually it gives it up. And then the short is even way better even after that. So that's selling into the close. Like, I wonder if it's a lot of 0-day options and things like that. People just pushing the button around noon, around 1 or 2 o'clock, hoping to get, you know, that big sort of return at the end of the day. And it's really been printing off for a lot of traders late. So we'll see if that happens today. Remember, we do have MSCI rebalancing happening today. So just a quick check on the imbalances. There's nothing really here yet. Archer, they had that report yesterday as well. So we can look at that. What's that down? 14% there now today. Oklo, you know, some of these names can't get out of their own way. I mean, this is another example here where you just, you know, a stock that I thought we liked all the way back in right now and still pushing pressure. Notice right here, no buys all the way down. ADT, what is that, the home security? Maybe people are robbing houses now. They got a little buy there going on there. So I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait to see. Shout out to Joe Burrow and all those guys. They got their bling back when they got robbed. But okay, at the end of the day, no buys here today on the imbalance. It's 8:45. Oh man, I think good idea maybe to sit on your hands for the first couple minutes, maybe to see what winds up happening. Oh, by the way,
on a Friday or any kind of rebalance day, it's almost always going to be true.
Yeah, especially for the first couple.
Especially on the first couple minutes.
Yeah, we just talked about how this touched 119-ish underneath VWAP right there. Oh boy, 18.7. So you're just down another $1 here on NVIDIA again. Like the market gets that. Oh wow, PCEs as expected. Hallelujah. Really? And then the move happens back down to the downside. You know what? I don't know if Michael's going to talk about this at all, but maybe if he's listening here, you know, what about the flight to safety? I mean, there's been something here where gold, I just would have thought, and look, nothing is going to be, and this is probably what Michael's going to say, honestly. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but nothing's going to be safe right now. The market's getting hit, right? Equity, everything's coming out right now, and I just don't know if gold is a decent opportunity. I'd be interested to hear what Michael thinks. The 50 period is down here to 255. So like, just because I'm way overexposed in tech names, thinking, and you know that we've sort of bought a little bit of gold there on that breakout, wondering where there's some good levels here in GLD, because honestly, like, want to get something in, but not necessarily in any of these equity names. I think it's easy to buy indexes, right? I mean, at some point we'll still keep buying the S&P, and we'll buy, I like XBI, some of the biotechs and things like that, but interested to hear some of these metals because it's supposed to be a flight to safety. Digital gold apparently not working.
No.
So maybe physical gold.
But that's the thing. Everyone talks about. It's so annoying, the digital gold thing. Bitcoin's its own thing, and it's a risk asset right now. And maybe at some point that will change. If you're like a hodl, then I think you do believe at some point that will change because it's, you know, the old limited supply and all that. But until it ain't, you know what it is. Yeah. Let's see what the NOS boss is talking about this lovely Friday. Remember, the market's actually flat right now. It just seems. It's one of those, it seems worse this morning than it is because NVIDIA's down a couple points, a bunch of stocks are down and what happened yesterday. But the Nasdaq's up 0.1. It's not like we're bleeding currently. Let's see what the NOS is saying. I like the financial.
Buy some cash. I like that.
Michael Noss, it is Friday morning. Michael Noss loves sell-offs. That was the top line in the email he sent me this morning.
But love capital letters.
I love the chart, the first chart that you brought with you this morning, because I think it's important to add some context here. Yes, it was a big down day yesterday. Yes, it's been a pretty ugly week, not only for the market, but Bitcoin as well, as the guys were just talking about. But talk us through some of your ideas here. There are signs under the hood of strength elsewhere.
Yeah, so we can get right to the first chart because I do think, you know, I always come on and try to calm everyone down a little bit. Yes, yesterday was wild, but this is just a weekly chart of the S&P 500. We got to the top end of the range, and now we're working our way to the bottom end of the range again. So until we get a break one way or another in this range, this is just choppy action, and choppy action in the context of an overlying uptrend, right? So we're moving higher, and then we're taking a break. And Brian Shannon, one of his Brian Shannonisms is that we can either correct via price or via time, and right now it's via time. It just feels a little bit worse when you're into it, which is why I'm excited on Monday, because we're going to have new monthly charts. So I think I'm just going to bring a whole bunch of monthly charts to calm everyone down even further. But this this was expected, right? We had two massive up years. I talked about year 3 of a bull market's usually choppy, and we also had the Trump administration again. We've had that before. That caused choppy action. So there was a lot of pointing to this that was going on. And I don't think that this is a bad thing because, like Brendan mentioned, there's a lot of rotation here. We got to always step back and understand what the S&P 500 is. And it is a market cap weighted index, which means the largest players have the most effect. So when you have a day like yesterday, that big cap tech got absolutely smoked, you're going to have a really bad, ugly looking down day. But this is why we spend our time going under the hood and looking at the individual sectors. So the next chart I have is actually the week to date performance of all of the sectors. You can do this in TradingView, and I just unticked anything that wasn't up at least like 2%. So I just wanted to see what was up this week and up pretty big. And some of this stuff makes perfect sense, right? When you see things like McDonald's and this, consumer staples, the services kind of index, a lot of this makes sense. However, there's a lot of green here, right? And this is the Russell 3000. So just showing that under the hood, a lot of things are having a great week, even though they may have pulled back a little bit yesterday. Even though Bitcoin is down, large cap tech is down, I think this is one of those, everybody has been focused because we've been talking about AI and semiconductors and all this for so long that we're all focused on those sectors. But there's a lot of other things in the market and other places that we can rotate and we can put our money into. And that's what we're seeing here. Shout out to Uncle Warren there in the top left-hand corner, hitting new all-time highs this week as everyone else is panicking. And then some other sectors as well we can get into here. So the first one is financials. So I have a chart of XLF here. Financials look great. We're holding these lows. So I just drew an anchored VWAP from that crash low. I think that was just the beginning of the year on one of the tariffs. We're near all-time highs on financials, and we're holding this major AVWAP. You can see we're holding a level of support around $50 a share on financials. I don't think you have overall market crashes while you have financials near all-time highs. You may have these large tech-weighted indexes starting to have a bad time, but I don't think you see tech as a whole crash or the market as a whole crash when you have XLF near all-time highs and doing pretty well holding, even though big topping tail yesterday, still green on the day after all of the kind of carnage that happened yesterday. So again, this is why I love sell-offs. It gives you some evidence here. XLV, I think it was last week that I came in and I was laughing at myself because I was talking about how strong this XLV chart looked, and there was some UNH news and it was gapping down a few percent. Well, that day it came back to almost close green, and then ever since then we've been up. So this is at not the top end of its all-time highs, but it's in the top end of its yearly range. S&P 500 just showed you at the low end of its yearly range. So healthcare stocks doing well, and this the anchored VWAP there is the anchored VWAP from all-time highs. So if you started to buy your healthcare stocks at all-time highs, you're starting to make money now. So it's one of those things where you can take a look at that and you can just say, okay, if we're above that anchored VWAP, maybe there is some tech names. So think your healthcare names. So think Eli Lilly, a lot of these drug manufacturers that fell out of favor for a little bit, they might be starting to perk up now. So another one showing interest as well. The next sector here, which is very interesting to me, is this one is also above its AVWAP from all-time high, nowhere near the low end of its range, the way the S&P 500 is. And this is ITA. This is aerospace and defense. So, think of, airlines, defense contractors, all of this doing very well considering the overall market. So just showing pockets of strength. So one idea I'm watching going in today, I just want to leave you guys at least with one stock here, is from that sector, and that's RTX. Look at the candle we had on RTX yesterday. And we are butting up near all-time highs around this 130 area. So any kind of lift in the market today, RTX breaks through all-time highs. I think this is one I want to take a shot in. And this is what I'm spending my entire weekend doing, is I'm going to go through the monthly charts. I'm going to see which ones are performing the best on the month. I'm going to look for stocks that are near a 52-week or near an all-time highs and kind of shut off the noise a little bit. NVIDIA couple of years ago wasn't one of these Mag 7s, and now it is. I'm not saying it's going to go back to not being one of the major stocks anymore. But this rotation is going to happen, right? All of the things that are in the top leadership of the market weren't at some point, and it was something else. So these rotations can kind of be painful because if you're owning the index shops sideways. If you're owning the large cap tech names, they might be down a little bit, but take your time and look elsewhere. There's going to be a lot of interesting. We talked about countries. There was a lot of countries that were near all-time highs last week. There's a couple sectors that are still doing well, so that's where I'm going to be my hunting ground, at least for the next little bit.
Yeah, well said. I mean, we spoke on Monday about the fact that Europe was doing so well. It's been a long time since we've sat here and discussed that as a simple fact. But it's really easy to get hyper-focused on what everyone else is talking about on X or on CNBC or whatever you want to watch. Maybe this channel, but it's worth taking the time to take a step back, as you're saying here, and get higher time frame context and see what else is moving around. So have a great weekend. Enjoy those charts. We'll talk again Monday morning.
I'll talk to you Monday.
Thank you, Michael. I take it a step further on the XLF. Actually, look at that. He was looking at a daily chart of the XLF. When you pull out a weekly chart of the XLF, the consolidation at the top looks even better. Now, obviously, it's just because a chart shows it's holding out the highs doesn't mean it's going to hold out the highs forever. But even if you were to get a 10% pullback, that gives you the 50 period on the weekly chart of the XLF. So the financials, yeah, they do look relatively strong. You got to be able to put things into perspective. The NASDAQ overall, we haven't even gone correction yet. I'm not saying it's a guarantee we're going to go. Let me go to the daily chart of the NASDAQ. We're not there. You're not that even 10% from the highs. I don't want to jinx it. That'll put us at the 200 period on the NASDAQ, which has generally been a bounce zone. We had this happen. Remember middle of last year when we pulled back, we went into correction territory, and that was your buying opportunity, that August low that everyone talked about. So this is typically a bearish time of year, and a retest of that 200 period, that correction area, it makes sense. This is what happens. Valuations are pretty high. You're going to see a name on the upgrade and downgrade list that just got upgraded, and they traded 80 times earnings. And their forward is, I think the forward's actually higher than that.
For what?
It's Kava. They got upgraded,
Kava.
and they got upgraded on that number.
All right. Yeah, I was looking as well. We were talking about different sectors here. Energy, XLE seems to be fine as well. I mean, some of these plays want to hold out. I mean, it's not doing anything, which is kind of nice. You go all the way back, obviously, to some of these levels. You've been holding this. It's right back to you can go all the way back here. It's October 24, 2024. That's August 23 right now. So it's not been super aggressive one way or the other, but you could hide out maybe in a little bit of energy, especially if you do think that this world is potentially turning upside down here. Maybe we're talking about gold. But again, the recession, I don't think we're going to be hitting that. I mean, especially this PCE number was good coming in line. So I don't think there's any too much worry about that. But that tends to bring oil back down as well. So we'll have to wait to see. But this is still above the 50-period moving average. So like the XLF there, the financials and energy seem to be something to look at. Sit in individual stocks, XOM, CVX. I think that's good. Occidental's a good one as well. So there's some decent holdups right now. The world is falling down, but at the same time, some pockets of strength, right? And I think energy is one of those. And that's what it is for now. Is this guy doing upgrades and downgrades today? Or
I
what?
think so. Looks like it. A little bit of a change.
All right. So I assume Andre with the thumbs up means we are good to go. So let's go over to Joe.
All right, good morning, everybody, and happy Friday, the final trading day of the month. Let's see what we got going on for upgrades and downgrades here. We have Kava upgraded by Piper Sandler with a price target of about 115 here, and Li Auto as well, too, guys, with an upgrade by JP Morgan and the fintech company PayPal. Here we go with an upgrade by DZ Bank, and then Bed Bath & Body Works here. Upgrade by Citigroup, and then Walgreens Boots Alliance with the downgrade sides, guys, here, starting it off with them. And then Logitech as well too with the downgrade by B of A Securities. Now Vertex also with the downgrade as well too, folks, by Stifel. And then we have Teleflex with this downgrade by RBC Capital Markets. And that is the upgrades and downgrades of the day, folks. Happy Friday.
All right, let's have a look here at a couple of things moving around this morning. In addition to that, I was just keeping an eye on, you and I were just talking about this Bitcoin angle here, 2% this morning, but we're back about 46 here for IBIT. A little bit further maybe before we start getting interested. You had a couple of levels picked out.
That $70,000 level is just calling everybody's name, Brendo. I mean, we rejected there, if you remember, the top in 2021. We also hung out there for a little bit before the breakout into 100,000. So I think we go back down to 70,000. I'll be buying in and around there. But should we have a look at these markets?
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely. All right, 58.75, guys. That's where we closed out on the ES March contract. We're up, a 0.5% right now, but still looking awfully down heavy. 5,900 overnight high. The overnight low, 58.58. Here's the deal. We're going to use 58.50 as support. If we break above 5,900, which I have my doubts about, we're looking at 59.25 as resistance. So we'll see if we can claim 5,900, or we're going to make our way down to the overnight low.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab the absolutely free watch list. Comes right to your inbox every morning. Jump down to the description of this video right now. Top link in the description gets you to the sign up page. Again, all you need is an email address. And you can just have that. It has everything you need to know on it every morning before we come on at 8:30. Top of the list here this morning, I will talk some crypto as well. Individual names starting to move around here, so just bear with me for a second. There's IBIT back above 46, as we were saying, but it's going to be an interesting one here. If you look at a Robinhood or if you look at a Coinbase, a little bit of relative strength coming into play versus where we ended the day yesterday. Overall, Bitcoin by far weaker than the rest.
Oh, God, yeah. And it has been for a few days. So let's talk a little bit about this. Bitcoin hit a 3-month low trading at 78.72. That was about 5.5% negative on the day. It is now 25% off its all-time highs. A lot of the reasons, obviously, we can talk about these here. Uncertainty around Trump's tariff policies, the remaining wars that still have gone unresolved. But I think it is really the inflation concerns and the fewer interest rate cuts that we are expecting the Federal Reserve to have this year. We started the year talking about 3. Now we're talking about 1. So we'll have to wait and see exactly there. And that Bybit hack on the weekend, we didn't talk too much about it, but $1.5 billion was taken. That could have shaken some of the security concerns with Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, it was holding that support level for so long. I mean, a lot of people still pounding the table here. This is just one of many notes I saw in regards to price targets. 500,000. Don't worry, it's going to be 500,000 by the time Trump leaves office. That was just one analyst. I mean, Michael Saylor with a funny tweet I saw this morning.
What did he say?
Talking about kidneys or something, selling a kidney before before selling Bitcoin.
That's kind of grotesque.
I mean, he's
making a point.
He's obviously all in, so makes sense for him.
I sold both kidneys.
I wouldn't go that far.
So, Joe, get ready to take my seat permanently here.
You just get it 3. You just got it printed. Like they could print you some new ones. The technology.
Yeah. My kid's
exists.
working on the 3D printing of my kidneys.
Yeah.
To buy more Bitcoin.
Have.
But no, I mean it's been pretty nasty, man. I mean, nice drop down. The thing is like. I saw, and I should go back and find it again here, but there was a post about how this is actually not even that big of a drop down for Bitcoin. Here it is right here, right into here. So if you're going to look here, so at 80,000, Bitcoin is now down 27% from its all-time highs of 109. Is that a big drawdown for Bitcoin? No. So if you're just going to look into here, some other drawdowns, that we've had on Bitcoin, and it's not like it's anytime recently, 78%, like, I mean, you get this is from 2021 there, 11, so it's 10s to 21, it's 11 days. Nice little downside move right now. This is sort of what we've been experiencing. So just to keep it in perspective, and then there's the return to the new highs. So you do get drawdowns, days to new high. Look, crypto is what it is. I actually saw another thing too with Brian Shannon right here. He did a little bit of work, and I was just sort of scrolling through. I think it was a little bit, there's the Michael Saylor one. There it is, Brian Shannon. Yeah, here it is right here. So 8.5% annual return on Bitcoin since MicroStrategy started buying it in 2020. So 8.5% per year return, actually underperforming the market since 2020. That doesn't really make too much sense, but we'll have to double check those numbers. But 8.5% return seems to be pretty consistent there. We'll wait to see what happens now. IBIT making that move back in. And like I said, if you were buying Bitcoin, and this is why I pulled back that BTCC. And, you know, I remember when IBIT first came to market and everyone was, you know, buying that up. And then you had some huge moves, then another drawdown. Like, here's a nice drawdown, right? $41 right there in about a month and a half, down to 32. That's 25% right there. Then it goes up another 50%, then back down another 30%, then up to $40 again, then back down to 30. Like, every single one of these declines is $10 on 40. That's 25%. So right here, it's something very similar again, 60 down to 45. So there you go. You get your another 30% down. We just showed you it was 27. So I'm pretty comfortable with the move down in here. Not buying any more at these levels. I think if you're going to do something, then you might want to look at 37, 38,000. We talked about the post-election rally, and it's basically filled the whole gap. So if you're going to buy something and you're pretending like, you know, maybe you didn't get that, I mean, whether or not it was false or not, there hasn't been too many promises for Bitcoin. I mean, they got rid of Gensler. I don't know. There hasn't been that Bitcoin reserve announcement yet or anything like that, and what exactly that's going to entail, how much, when. So I don't know. I still think there's good news coming for crypto. But yeah, you're going to have to hold out a little bit on this.
I think that's the next catalyst. Because
there has to be catalysts.
Right? Yeah, I think it's when, you know, if and when we get some kind of like a reserve, and then you can get like you can get sovereignties stepping, or larger ones. It's not like it's not happening already. Larger ones buying or having a policy of not selling what they have. That said, I was saying this to my physio guy. I think watch out for the weekends. Now that we're underneath this 90, I think on the weekend you're at risk of any of these like lit grabs that happen when you get any kind of liquidations, and then that 70 level comes into play. I think that's the area to look for me, at least for me, to look for the next buy, but it might not be for a bit. You have to be able to weather this out. It's a weekly chart, and it's very constructive. It's still looking great on the weekly. You get these pullbacks. But one name, so as I was noticing the bounce that we just had, we're now at 82,000, by the way, so 78, broke and held 80, now at 82. It's just kind of looking over at still red Mara. So if there's one to be faded today, Mara rejected a breakout after earnings yesterday and has several lower highs to play with. 13.4, the obvious one that doesn't, I mean, if it holds 14 even close, 14 even here, that's an obvious level if it gets up there. I'm looking at reversions on this one. As long as Bitcoin's not like going flying back through 85, 86, then I want to be fading reversions on Mara. First look would be 13.4 and then 14 even as far as the trade goes.
NVIDIA day two possibly coming here. We're down 1.8% right now. Trying to bounce though, however. There is a couple of levels to be aware of if you look on a higher time frame. But I mean, you and I were just talking about the simple fact that demand is still not being met here as far as this company is concerned. But we were just checking out as well. 55 current PE on the stock, 40, you know, if you look forward.
Yeah, look, Brendo, I mean, you got Sam Altman going on X complaining he can't get enough GPUs to source this ChatGPT 4.5, and then you have DeepSeek on the other hand making great strides with efficiency. So it's like I was telling Brendo off camera, I don't know whether to look left or to look right. Let's talk about how NVIDIA did yesterday. Dropped over 8% after its earnings report. Brendo, it raced $273 billion in market cap, kind of a tough look there. Now it has lost $3 trillion. It's at about 2.94. Microsoft as well dropped below $3 trillion, leaving Apple as the only American company trading above that, or market cap above $3 trillion. Some of the concerns obviously we have here, export controls being touted here by Donald Trump, in addition to the ones that were already put by Joe Biden. Tariffs as well, and focused AI model efficiency, as we just mentioned with DeepSeek, and quite frankly, slowing growth. Not like 100% is bad, but when you look at the previous quarter, year over year, Brendo, they're growing 260%. So the fact of the matter is they're still slowing down, right?
Just crazy numbers still. This was the level I was talking about here. 116, 115 possibly. I mean, that's a really ugly candle, though, erasing a couple of weeks worth of action.
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind, like from that DeepSeek bottom, you know, the market tends to go down a little faster than it goes up. but it's not that crazy in terms of speed. Like, we're just talking about like the beginning of February, and then we made the high there on the 20th. So really, you know, you're just slightly faster in coming back into this deep seek bottom, which at 113 today, that's where our look reversions got away with them yesterday, in that most of the support levels held up long enough, at least initially on NVIDIA. Like when it came in, that 129 held for a bit, and then that 126 was also able to hold. So there were some reprieve levels when you got that reversion play. It's very different today. Like yesterday was a fail to break out flush type of situation. Well, right now we've just had an 8% down move and then another 2 points on top of it. So I kind of look almost like in the other direction here. Like if you get that fade down in really quick, well, it's in the same direction, I guess. That 113 is where I'd look for the reversion. I marked off, when I sat down, I marked off 125. We were trading in the 120 range at that time. So, you know, we have trended down since there. Whenever that happens, I always just sort of go right back into like the pre-market, like the prior close and the pre-market levels, which is 120 to 121. The 125 is still going to be a level for me. AMD, simple, 150, 100 and a half is the level. If it breaks that at the open, then I back off that and kind of move over to NVIDIA and Mara for shorts. But if AMD does not hold 100, we're going to try and get that one to the south side. It's right at yesterday's close, well, yesterday's aftermarket support level, or where we ended off. And the pre-market high at 100.5 at the close, that was a resistance. Simple over-under on AMD. If it holds this underneath, that's probably the first short that I would have, would be AMD. But if it breaks away from this, I am not fighting it. It's been bled enough that you don't want to get caught in a relief rally. It's 3% up to the next level. So I wouldn't hold that 3%.
All right, we have NVIDIA here, 120 short sell. We're not going to stand in the way of any sort of momentum. So if it does get up there, I mean, 125 would be a dream if it can get there. As Neil mentioned, we'll be shorting that as well, obviously. We're going to try to get a little more aggressive and wait for that 120. It's only $2 away. Could come right away. AMD short 101. I'm going to let it break 100 and then short 101, just like we did yesterday with the TQQs. So, you know, yesterday's biggest trade was that fade on the NASDAQ at the end of the day. You saw some pressure come through with the NASDAQ and NVIDIA. And yeah, I mean, there's 120. It's right where the 200 period moving average is. It's kind of where we had a problem with right there in the after hours, and then we just kept on sinking off of that. So yesterday's closing price in and around 120, definitely something to look at for me on NVIDIA. And then as easy as it gets, AMD. I mean, I think I probably made the most money on AMD in the last couple months. And it's been a good short. Obviously, we called this an advanced money destroyer back at $200. It's now half of that. And yeah, it's been absolutely disgusting. So, you know, it's trying to deal with $100. So I'm going to see what it does now. No point in getting involved super early. We're right here, right now. So for me, wait. I want to see it sort of pop through and then see what happens in and around this 101 area where we sort of dropped out through again yesterday. But every level looks good for the short, right? So I think you just got to let it show you where it is. I'm definitely not looking long, though, on any of these names today. Maybe NVIDIA if it gets to 115. I actually wrote down, too, that 115 pressure short. So if we can get that right into here, I like it. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I like this drop through 115. So if we can break that, that's 117. Go all the way down in, just a psychological level of 115. Last time we actually broke that, we went down to 113. So that would be something to look at. There's a hold of 115.20. So if you break 115, you probably, I wrote down you testing 112. So we'll wait to see. You could actually get into 110, 108 here today. So again, you know, down 2%, much more aggressive than the market. The market's up, NVIDIA's down. I think we probably break 115, and that's probably a decent short to go at that level too. So, hey man, play your levels, play your game. Let's see what winds up happening.
On a Meta, back to the upside right now, trying to hold 660. It's positive on the morning. A couple of things to note here. Get ready because there's a time in the future. It's not going to be very long. Everyone's going to be walking around apparently with smart glasses on.
I'm pumped.
Let's see. I mean, form factor, I think, needs to change still. You have a good image there, but let's see.
We'll show these. These are the new Aria 2s, Brendo. I mean, it's still experimental. They're not available for sale for the general public, for researchers and academics as well. So I just want to give you a quick look of it there. We can see if we can kind of move forward. There's a form factor. I mean, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. I don't mind this too much. Obviously, I think that they're going to make this a lot smaller as time goes on. But, well, let's talk a little bit about what they're doing here. So experimental smart glasses, just as I mentioned, research for AI, robotics, and machine perception. It's got built-in studies for advanced sensors and robotic systems. And some of the new features, in addition to the ones that they already dropped in 2022, are improved sensors, including a heart rate monitor, enhanced computing power, and better battery, Brendo, for all-day usage. We've talked about this before. I was telling you off camera, I think that the cool form factor here would be like to have the projection components in the glasses and then have it wirelessly connect your phone for the compute. That way you could kind of have more juice, I guess.
Yeah, the hands-off aspect, the voice activation. I mean, it's already there. You can talk to your phone like conversationally at this point, so it's already there. But I don't know, those are reminding me of safety glasses.
They're big
at this point, so I think form factor needs to improve, but I love the concept.
They'll get there. I mean, we're talking long-term stuff anyways, right, for Meta. Like, in terms of before you have everybody or lots of more people, you wearing those in the office or at home when they're working and doing your thing. I think they'll get there, and I think that's going to be eventually a great segment for them. As far as today goes, we like a lot of other things to trade. We just sort of went on a couple of chip names. We've gone over the crypto name. We'll talk about China in a quick little second here, but I'm not going to trade Meta. The 50 period is held. 655 is the local support, and the 50 period's underneath that at $650. It's a Friday, so those are levels that I think you'd look for reversions. If we actually do get we go red on the day and everything is flushing and I'm looking for spots that there might be like reversions and bounces, yeah, the 50 period and the 650 on Meta could be one of those. It's actually relatively strong today. So I don't know that you get a challenge of those levels. It's only up 0.5%, but when the market's flat, that's pretty good. And as we were saying, like, you talk about this isn't the end of the world. Meta's been respecting all of these dips. Probably the 200 period has been a golden zone, but it's been supporting this 50 period. Until that's gone, I don't think you're that worried about this stock, although I do feel like if it loses it, it's going to be a great buying opportunity. This is one I like off the 200 period moving average. The last time I bought it was in here. If we get there, this is one I'm 100% picking up.
If Meta falls $100 more, yeah. I mean, I think that's, I think a lot of people would be backing that one up for sure back into November. I mean, yeah, look, it's down $80 from its high. It's bouncing off the 50 period moving average. I mean, you can trade this. I was looking at something. I mean, it's still 700. Yeah, these guys, no one will trade it around here, but I mean, I might look at Meta. Down to $10 right now, Snapchat. I mean, when I hear about those glasses, I think that like one of the original forms was coming from Snapchat. I remember, I don't know, maybe it was 5 years ago or something, they were talking about some of these glasses. But again, this looks like a much better short than anything that I've seen with Meta anyways. This looks like it wants to break through $10. It's now down at that $10 mark. This is just interesting to me because it's bounced off here basically once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And every time it had about a 20% move back to the upside. So yeah, it could be an interesting level here for $10 for Snapchat. If you're going to look at a daily chart, it's not like it's doing tons of, that was a daily chart. It's not doing tons of volume, but you know, it does move and it does give you the juice. So even though this is only a quarter downside, you can take a little bit less shares and not worry too much about Snapchat. So I think if this does get going today, what about up to the 200 period right here? Yesterday, it hit it, bounced off. So for me, Snapchat maybe in around 10.15 or so for a price target there for a short if we do bump up. So we'll see. Snapchat could be in for something there today. I'd rather trade that than Meta. Early look here on the imbalances, still no buys. So we will get the NASDAQ in about 7 minutes at 9:25. So we'll look to see if something comes through there. But BBAI, we looked at Big Bear. That's at $5 again. That's kind of holding. I like that stock down at this level. But yeah, Dell with a sell. I don't know if that Oh, next is going to be China, then Dell. So, yeah, Dell down today. What is that now? Down 6%. So, what started off good, I mean, me and Adair were reporting that yesterday. It was a good report, and then it was like smack right there all afternoon, all morning here, down to $100. So, all right, let's go find out about China. We've been looking long in FXI, but today it looks like it's going to be a short.
More tariff concerns coming through. China coming out overnight, essentially saying they're going to match the U.S. with whatever comes through, whether it's another 10%. When that happens, we are still waiting. There's a few interesting individual headlines here this morning as well. There's Alibaba, 3.6% right now to the downside. Huge gaps on some of these. Alibaba, if you rewind the clock here, going back to the beginning of the week, said they're going to invest $52.2 billion in AI and cloud computing to try and keep up with DeepSeek, who actually yesterday said they were going to cut prices on off-peak hours, so developers specifically will get access to some of their developer options for less cost.
Not bad look. Yeah, the DeepSeek's really disrupting the industry. We'll have to see if they disrupt the Chinese industry. I saw Baidu as well looking to drop a newer version of its Ernie AI bot. So we'll have to see how that all works out. But with respect to these tariffs, so we know that Donald Trump imposed 10% already on February 4th. He's looking at dropping another 10% March 4th, in addition to the 25 that were already on there, as I mentioned, from the previous administration. Some of the responses here being touted by China, adding or putting higher tariffs on U.S. imports, Brendo, adding firms to an unreliable entity list, and tighter export controls on critical minerals. So we'll have to see how that all works out as well. There could be more strategic Chinese retaliation, though. I mean, we've seen that they want to basically target specific industries that could hurt Donald Trump's base. Some of the things that being touted right now: energy import duties, mineral access restrictions on technological export controls, and agricultural tariffs as well, all being discussed here by the Chinese.
The EV side of things, among the worst off right now, Xpeng specifically, pretty ugly. But yeah, Baba, as far as the e-commerce side of things, the worst off. Almost 4% here, guys, right now.
China rally on hold, maybe?
Yeah,
well, it's
pause.
Yeah, it's pause, on hold. Either way, I think Baba is probably headed to a retest of 125. We kind of went over this one already, but down that 4 points, you're gapping away from any pretty clear levels. The last time it had anything of note, little bottom here at the 28, and then a bottom here at the 125. So 3 days of action with good accumulation and support at the 125 level. That sets it up for a bounce level in there today. I don't know that for it to get there, you're going to be down 7%. So it has to double the gap that we've already seen for it to get down to that level. But that's where I'd be only trading it for the reversion. It's kind of hanging out in the middle of nowhere. So other names will be a little bit closer to prices that we'll likely trade. Talking about like Mara and AMD, to an extent NVIDIA. But Baba's going to have to wait. If it does get to 125, that's a place I'd like to let it fly for a little bit of a bounce.
All right, I mean, just looking at FXI, yeah, so good move up. I think you're getting close to buying this. I mean, if it's going to be a tit for tat on the tariff thing, then maybe Trump eventually does kind of push back and maybe just says, okay, let's just call it a truce or something. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think that would really help rally China if we did get some clarity on everything. You know, March 4th, so coming on Monday is when all the tariffs start to hit for Canada and Mexico. So we'll have to wait to see where this all goes. I mean, anything produced in China, Taiwan, all this is going to get hit, right? I mean, that's why you see some of these tech names really falling back in. So FXI still remains under pressure here today, down another 2%. NEO, we had some talk about this yesterday. Not good, man. I mean, that was $5 yesterday. So yesterday afternoon at 2 o'clock, we were at $5. You're now at $4.50. That's 10% down in about 2 hours of market time. So that's not good, you know, like straight to the downside and then this gap. So, you know, you're making up a big move back in here. 440 is where we are on the daily chart for a 50-period bounce. Again, I really like the short if we can get anything back up to here, 480, 490, something like that. for NIO. So, I mean, this would be something that I'd like to short. I don't think we're going to get bumped up to that level, but 480 is only right here. It's where we closed yesterday. So I think a little bit of a bounce back up here, and you look to short some NIO. You can use a hell of a lot of shares. It's only $5. So I like to short there in NIO around 480 if we can get back up there. The car business is not a good one.
Let's continue on here. Dell with a nice bounce off 100 this morning. I was wondering what was going to happen there when I first looked at it. We were just creeping our way down to 100. So already up almost $2 off of that, coming off their report after the close yesterday. I mean, it really comes down to the forecast. Even if you go to, I was reading a note on 2026 specifically, the AI data center side of things below estimates.
It is. It's a tough look. It's a mixed report, Brando. Some good, some bad. Let's talk about it. Q4 revenue, $23.9 billion. That missed. The street wanted $24.5 billion. EPS, though, beat. They were able to shore up costs, $268 per share. The street wanted $253. Net income as well rose to about $1.5 billion. That's up from about $1.5 billion last year. So not too bad of a look. Now let's talk about the guide. Dell, their forecast versus estimates over here. So the full year for 2025, Brendo, we're looking at about $101 to $105 billion in revenue. That's in line with the expectations of 103. Full year EPS comes in above, higher than what the street was looking for, 930. The street wanted 9.25. The Q1 revenue, though, this is where it all falls apart for Dell. So Q1 revenue below the street's expectations of 22.5 to 23.5. That the high end there is below the estimate there, and the EPS for Q1 as well, coming about 11 pennies actually below the street's expectations at $1.65.
It did hold up a little bit better yesterday into the close than some of the other names in this group, but yeah, pretty ugly here, guys. Trying to bounce though and hold, as we mentioned, big number there, $100.
Yeah, well, it's ugly. Rocket Lab's actually uglier. NVIDIA just had a 1 million buy imbalance that just paired to 880,000. You'll see NIO, which Sean just mentioned, 400,000 to sell. BABA, 280,000 to sell. BBAI, 260. SMCI there for 200,000. So those are the 925 early looks for imbalances. NVIDIA got a bit of a bid on that, up to 118. Dell wasn't on my radar today. I think it's, unless it flat bottom breaks down here at the 98 level, I don't think I'm going to be involved in Dell. I said Rocket Labs was a little bit worse. Rocket Labs has already been sort of cratering the last couple of weeks. It's been cut in half now from the highs. It's got some room to head even lower. There is the $18 level for a pop and fade. Free locates on Rocket Labs, by the way, which I double checked. Pretty sure we used to have to pay for them, yeah, but that 18 level where it rebounded to, that's kind of the over-under for me. But Rocket Labs is the earning name that's on my watch for a pop and fade. Dell, though, that 98 is a flat bottom break. That's something that I could come to if you're patient at the open or that first 30 minutes and nothing sets up, or you're looking for ideas. It is a big level, but I'd rather trade Rocket Lab today.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of these imbalances, and like we said, there is no buys. I mean, look, we had SoundHound come through yesterday. That was actually a ripper. It was up to 1075 yesterday as Adair and I were talking about this name, and that just came right back in as well. So they lost it. The other buy is ACBA. I don't even know what that is. And then there's nothing else all the way. Palantir breaks through 80, but it's still at 80, so we'll wait to see what happens here with Palantir. I have a long at 82 if we can break above the 200 period moving average on PLTR. Yeah, QBTS, quantum name, continues to sell off as well here into the pre-market. Down two and a bit percentage points. The NASDAQ is now turned red. The ES is flat, up 0.13. So there's Snowflake too. Snowflake 172. Okay, so this, again, good moves up for Snowflake off their earnings right there. Nice move to the upside, up to 180 off the NVIDIA day. But then yesterday, of course, hit again. Look for Snowflake to break through 165, or at least get down to there to see if we want to test some of those levels. So yeah, there's Dell. I mean, as Neil mentioned, it is the biggest sell imbalance on there right now. You're going to play off key levels, right? But we've already broke through 100. So I think Dell's a sell through $99 again, man. You know which name that we don't talk about enough? You talked about it yesterday. and I do like it. It's ARM, and it's just like, this is down $30. You know, it just looks similar to everything else. I was just going to say, like, this is another one of those plays where I don't know if it's really too affected by tariffs. I mean, it's going to be in these phones. It's going to be part of the game for a while. So obviously, this is another name here where you're just falling into more support. And I mean, you know, people are like, the sky is falling. It is kind of falling, but at the end of the day, you know, we're kind of back to some levels. You know, you're going to give back the year. You're going to give back a lot of unrealized gains in your accounts. But I think there is a time to, I don't know, just sit back and maybe just reassess some of the positions, maybe getting into some financials. Like, I'm trying to think about how to get my way out of some of these tech names. So I would like to see a little bit of a bump up, then maybe a sell, and sort of a reassess where, you know, what your portfolio looks like as far as percentage of how much of it's in NVIDIA, how much of it's in Google, and try to sort this out so that you're not overly exposed to some of these things. But again, they've been really working. It's just, it sucks to give back, right? So, all right, I don't have any pending bids or offers. Normally I do that. But I mean, the levels I wrote down was NVIDIA 120 short. I still think that will come into play. I'd rather it break than maybe I smack it down. 82 long for Palantir, just with only 30 seconds to go. You want the bell? Okay, Sharif's going to be on the bell there. So we're going to look for an 82 break long on that one. I did say the TQs are going to be obviously part of my trade plan today as well. And we're looking at a 72 short, so right into there for the triple Qs. So that would be something. And then AMD upside into 101. What's it at now? Yeah, so okay.
Right here.
Yeah, so there's some stuff there. So
NVIDIA did just pair off. It's now only 500,000 to the sell side there, as it was a buy side on NVIDIA. But AMD right there at that 100 level. Whoops, I hit it. Why didn't it go? Ring it in 2 and 1. The bell brought to you by Orgenics there. That was ridiculous.
No, I hit it there at the end.
Okay.
Maybe is your stream deck maybe not open? Okay,
Yeah,
the market is open, but there we go. I just want to get the fireworks. Yay, there it is. Okay. All right, so here we go. AMD, so immediately downside, right? AMD's $99. NVIDIA's already at a 116 level, but it just bounced. It just printed 116.90s or so, bouncing up straight up $2 right there for NVIDIA off of that low. Maybe if I zoom in a little bit more, you'll be able to see it. There's that huge wick on this. Remember, it was a buy imbalance. So and then, that got paired off, and then obviously it got smoked down there to the downside. So NVIDIA trying to find its way. Palantir did get to 79.50 or so, no, 79 flat as well. So a lot of flattening out there on the greater market, especially some of these tech names. Definitely a whoosh down moment right there. So all right, you're not in anything, I'm not in anything yet, but we'll wait. We try to be a little more patient. Rocket Labs, okay, that's another.
Rocket Labs just bounced. Well,
Palantir's under 80 now. I
got a little bit ahead of myself. It just bounced like 90 pennies, almost breaking it out at 17.2, looking to get into that 18 level, but right back into those lows. AMD, what are you doing? Are you even giving us? Now, AMD's not even testing higher. Oh, Intel, forgot to mention Intel. Intel had 20. All right, never mind. It just broke 23 and just took out some big lows at 22.70. This is a flat bottom break ongoing here on Intel. We don't get AMD. This was the backup plan. Well, they're both dropping now. AMD starting to drop through that 100 level. Might try to pick it up in the high 99s, I suppose.
All right, we've, I don't know. All right, we're short Palantir. I mean, we shorted at 79.70. We just took 70 cents, but I mean, it is bouncing around a little bit here. Let's take another bid in the 20s if we can. I mean, there it goes. It's been a bloodbath here early. Obviously, look at the NASDAQ, now down 0.5%. Bye-bye, PLTR. We just got another fill down there at 79 flats. So, oh no, we were bidding 79 flat. We did it. We got 79.05. Okay, so we'll wait to see where this goes. I was just going to play it off VWAP. I mean, it could get going. I do like an 82 break long on this name, but I'm going to short it until we do snap through VWAP, which right now is at 80.50. So I'm going to put an offer at $80.51. Not try to be too stubborn with it. I mean, if it gets back up there, we'll short in and around $80 again, and then we'll give it that 50 cents to go. So right now, here comes Palantir. I'm bidding 79 flat. That might not, there it goes. I was gonna say that might not even be a good idea, because if we break it, then we're probably going significantly lower. So there it is right now. We'll go 1 for 1 on a pretty good position size right there. We didn't want to get too excited about this play, because again, volatile off the open, but a good one so far, as short 79.70. It's an early, Neil. Dollar Club winner. So there it is. First trade on the board is $1. We're happy to make it. We're happy you're here. Giddy up.
Giddy up is the way to go. Palantir moving with the market. We're now down 0.5% on the NASDAQ. ES only 0.2. The backup plan might come into play on this next little pop here, which was Intel through the flat bottom break at 22.8. The other things we're watching, obviously AMD, want to get it in front of 100. Mara, Bitcoin just hit 81, so actually pulled back from that 82,000 level. Mara tracking towards that 13.4 that we wanted to grab the short in. So let's see which one comes in first. Nothing happening on NVIDIA. Rocket Lab was the other trade that we're looking for. The 18 level for a mean reversion. This actually has a chance to get there. Rocket Lab's now only down 12% and showing some real signs of strength. Oh, is AMD just a flat bottom break too? It's now breaking pre-market lows underneath the 98 level. Oops, I'm not canceling my old orders. So we just got in. Oh, no, we didn't get filled yet. Haven't gotten the fill yet at that 99 or just the 99 quarter level. Want to give it into what will now be VWAP on AMD. Bit of a green to red story on this stock. Want to make sure we get the short today in it.
All right. Yeah, we're out of half right now. So we're in this into $1. Let's just see where we wind up going from here. Let's check out other names. So, I mean, I'm bidding 78.25s. You know, hopefully that will come in for me. And if not, we'll just play it back to the upside there. Market, I don't know where we're going to bounce. I don't even really want to look at that right now. We did not short the TQs off the open. We chose our pain with Palantir, and it might still could bounce, right? All right, so some nice volume coming in on Tesla, over 10 million shares right now. Made that move down, dropped off of 280 immediately, down to 275. You know, we had looked at Tesla before and said that this is probably going to be a buy zone, and I think it is. It's just like when is the question, right? I mean, the market's not going to fall forever, although it seems like it may. This is probably a good spot. Like, I don't know, 270. Like, let's let Tesla try to base out. I think I like the long here. It's just right now, I don't know, you know, like maybe that 274 is something. It's, do we want to stand in front of it? That's the question right now. Looks like we are starting to make a little bit of a move back up now in the broader market, which is nice. So there's a bounce. Okay, so this may be what we're looking for. So Amazon, did it just give us an answer down there at 207? Maybe it did. That could be a good little dip buy opportunity as well for Amazon. So I like the fact that we've built out a base now on many of these names, and maybe now we can find something that can turn this frown upside down. I mean, the NASDAQ was just down 0.8. Now you're up at 0.3. So a nice little rally upside right now on NASDAQ. So I see you're short Intel and AMD. We're short Palantir.
Yeah, AMD's the one
Palantir just came out, actually.
Yeah, AMD's the one that's challenging that 100 level. If we're going to wait for 105, it breaks 100, we're going to jump out. Intel's still holding underneath 23. NVIDIA is powering up to 119, so it is headed toward the top on NVDA. And then our Rocket Lab going to have to work. I'll get to Rocket Lab in a quick second. If we break 100, we're out of AMD. It's a break of the bottom and then a short to give it to that 100 level. But if it's breaking away from this, got to wait for that pre-market high. I want to adjust my stop because it was not in there. Okay, now we're good. Now we have our stop in on AMD. Just realized I still had the 170 level there on AMD. So we don't want to have that. That was if we got it at the pre-market. And yeah, Tesla's making a bit of a rebound. Looks like you're going to get a break on Tesla. You're going to get a break on Intel. You're going to get a break on NVIDIA imminently here. And even Rocket Labs, which I thought was going to be a pop and fade, it's screaming into the 18 level. When it's going this hard, I'll take a fail on early short. I was determined I'm going to take a shot at AMD today. Every single day it's been a good short. You got to take your shots at it. Rocket Lab's going to be distinctly different, though. It has to be a reversion. This is now going parabolic and has already gone $2. So it's got to be a mean reversion trade. So you know the drill. Put the trend line on, break of the trend, go short in Rocket Labs.
All right, so a couple bad shorts to start the day here. Today we'll see if Intel can hold that. But yeah, so in and out. We tried it there. We got out. It broke higher. Now I'm going to try to go long Palantir through $82. But the thing is, the market just made its move back up to the upside. So we do want to look at TQs maybe. There's the 200 period moving average. So, you know, the short is giving it to us right now. Just a matter of do we want to take it, I guess, at the end of the day. NVIDIA's at 119, so that could be a play as well. The TQs, what is that exact level there? 71. That's a 200 period, 71.68, 71.59s or so. Let's try. I'm going to go short right now up into that level. We'll offer rate up there. So if it does come up, 71.50. Actually, sorry, 71.50 is, yeah, about the high as we got. So we want to go short into this level, which is 71.60. So here it comes. Nice little move to the upside right now on the TQs, igniting the short. So 71, again, a little bit of a break higher than that, 60s, 65s or so. We'll get out of that. So right now, initial short working for us on the Qs. Going to get something out, though, as we go. There you go, Neil, you win. Nice move to the upside right now for the market, so we'll take advantage of that and hit the short right now on the TQs. It was a big trade for me yesterday. Let's see if we could do it today. We just got out of, again, we got out of 20% down there, just trying to lick the wounds a little bit from that Palantir. So, yeah, so far so good here on this short market. Break the high, we're out, man. I'm going to use that 200 period as the level. I'm not going to hold it up to the pre-market high. If you really did like the short and you're not, you know, I'm just in it right now. So if it breaks that level, I'm out, but could reload it up there near 72.20 or so. But we'll wait to see what winds up happening here. Intel over there, AMD, I don't know what else you're working with. But
we're out of AMD. I'm not working back. I said I'm not chasing that stock. It has to hold the 100 half level. So first things first. Pre-market highs there on Intel. If it can't mean revert, if it breaks trend, then I want to add to it. Oh, where'd my black chart go? Let me just quickly, there's the AMD chart. There's your 100 and a half. So that's the over-under. Because the first move is like this, you're now starting to slap a trend on it. And unless you get a reversion, test the high, revert the trend, I don't want to jump back into it. So trying to be a little bit patient. We're still only 10 minutes into the open. There's plenty of time. You haven't broken out these pre-market highs yet. You still want to be in the short trade. It's just a matter of where to get into it next. So get that fail of the high and then jump in and add to the position, or get back into one in the case of Advanced Micro Devices. Rocket Labs isn't really setting up for anything, though.
All right, I mean, we got the banger on, and we're just trying to cover it down here into the 20s. I mean, it's a good one. We'll be zeroed today. I mean, we'll wait to see what winds up happening with Palantir. Again, just bouncing around. I do have an 82 break long on this name. If that can come through, that would be fine too. So we'll wait to see if that hits. I may cancel that right now. We're into the short. Right now, we want to short the market. We trade the market the best, I feel like. So 71.07 is where I'm bidding. That's where we just got into. I don't know why exactly we stopped right there, but that's where I'm bidding right now, the bottom of this wick. We just missed us. So I don't know. Hopefully it comes back in there. And on the TQs, man, it shouldn't really matter. When we get this push down, like the individual prices, again, this is a triple levered ETF. So I'm just kind of shorting the market as we are underneath right now. So let's go over and look at some individual names. I wrote down NVIDIA 115 as a possible break short. We did like the 120 short, so we could have been in that. I did write down AMD 101 short. Obviously, I should have hit that as well to the short side. Look, really glad. I mean, Neil, we're putting up some special numbers at least right now for the TQQs. So there it goes. It just broke below 70. I mean, there it comes right back again, but just broke below 71 there. So we did get that fill. But look how volatile this is, man. I mean, it was just down. Now it's back up. NVIDIA 117.50 right now. I don't know if this tank's going to happen. Is it going to be a free-for-all Friday? We'll wait to see, but it's been definitely a downside move, and there it goes again right now. So TQ's having a little bit of a problem here. Let's put another bid at O's. We just got that. I'm now bidding 90s and then 80s, and then we'll see what winds up happening.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like the NASDAQ and the ES have both battled back to above overnight lows in both cases. Rocket Lab did do the mean reversion. It broke the 18 level, did the topping tail candle, came back underneath, shorted underneath 90, give it to the prior high. Intel just came back to the 23 level, so it's floating down, but this is the one. That's the one. Try to catch it on the back end of AMD. I said this time I'm going to get into AMD early, and that ends up being an absolute fail. AMD right back into those lows. So got to show you that one. It'll be the Yale. I knew I was going to take it today, and we got a little bit of aggressive on it. So Rocket Lab's the new trade. Intel held the high, then came back in. This one did give you fills above 23, just bouncing off of VWAP. So I have a couple of bids underneath VWAP, and then we'll work it a little bit lower. Just keep in mind with Intel, this is like a flat bottom support area. If we lose this, the market does trend down. There's a lot underneath here, a lot of room, I should say, underneath here on Intel. The only other name I was looking at was Mara, and this has yet to do any kind of a trend break, although it's trying to now. So actually it's about to do the trend break as we speak. So this is the other one we wanted. Trend up, break trend. Looks like it's trying to close this one underneath the trend line. That's the other short we're looking for. So Intel just worked in the money a little bit, but the market's still trying to bounce off those overnight lows. So we just have to be careful with it, particularly with the entries. Like AMD's been a good short, but just because it has been one doesn't mean I want to rush back in. Got to wait for it to give me that 100 to 100 half level one more time.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we're only working with one thing here, the futures. So we just got a great fill down there, man. Okay, and then we just got stopped out. So, oh, you know what? That's probably a little bit of a too aggressive of a stop. All right, well, that stop just happened for us, so we have to be responsible for it. But here it goes, 71. It was just like a wick up there. So anyways, this is what the futures are doing. Maybe we do battle back here. Maybe there was that bottom, right? We did talk about that with Michael Noss a little bit there, that there could be some extension. There it goes back up to the upside. So let's watch out now. I assume that, yeah, the shorts are probably getting squashed out just a little bit right now. Obviously, you were just in and out there of Rocket Labs. I know that was going to be a good trade. But yeah, nice upside move coming for Palantir. Watch out for that's 8. Now I still take the 82 break, but starting to get going a little bit right there as well. So we just talked about trying to scalp, right? And so we did that with the TQs. Now we just have to wait. Palantir short early was great, then it wasn't. So it's just kind of like a little choppy, right? I mean, the market does make that low. Now it rips right back upside. So we're just going to have to wait now to see where and when that next fill is going to come. We don't need to be jumping in and out of things too quickly there. 72.50 maybe, like I said, for the NASDAQ could be a trade. Excuse me. That was all the way up here. So that could be probably the next area if you're going to look short. There's no pretty short bias. Despite the market being flat. So we'll wait. Now, NVIDIA's coming up to 120 again, by the way.
The other one that looks really strong right now is going to be Tesla in a quick little second, but there's Rocket Lab underneath 18. The second, come to my chart for a second. There we go. Oh, no, that's still me. Got it when it came back underneath 18 on the 3-minute, but the second it broke out of that aftermarket, whatever you want to call it, kept it a much tighter stop than what we should have done on AMD. Intel is going over here. It has not broken out that prior high yet, but so far back, it's holding underneath the 23.25 level. You do have that pre-market high at that 23.3. So try to keep it in the pocket, right? Like none of the losses, don't want to have them too big, don't want to force too much of the action. But Tesla has bounced the 200-period moving average on a bottoming tail candle, and it looks very, very good. So it actually held this big resistance at 270, 273 prior, and has now held the 200-period moving average in addition to that, and is now breaking out the top. So that is a setup for a long, but you're at pre-market highs. So you got to have some kind of a pullback in here, maybe 280, maybe VWAP for a continuation play. Unless you get that wick at the bottom, I don't want to sit there going away from an original bias by buying tops. It's one thing to get a reversion at that low. It's another thing to buy the absolute highs on a Friday.
Yeah, so far nothing really working out here, as you guys can see, but we'll wait to see what winds up happening. Right now I'm back into the triple Qs just with a little bit less shares, just going to try to give it a little bit of room. Thanks, David, for the super chat right there, and a big shout out to Debbie. So thank you so much for, you've raised quite the individual. Thank you, David, for that. There it is. Her name is Debbie. She will laugh. So hello, mother of David, and thank you for watching, and hopefully we've got a new subscriber. Hey, Debbie, if you have an account, just hit like, hit subscribe. Get that, be part of the 500,000 subscribers that we do have here at TraderTV Live. So 71.25 right here is in the area that I'm going to be bidding to get a little bit out here on the TQQs. There it is. So here goes Palantir. Yeah, this could be disaster. We'll see. There's the break of $82. I mean, I'm going to maybe lighten up a little bit on the TQ trade, but we'll wait to see. Palantir, I like the 82 break. What did we get? We got 82.07, so not a great price there on the break, but takes out the 200-period moving average. Again, just thought the market might want to rally. We looked at 82 earlier. It is a nice up step for Palantir. But, we've seen a break and then a pullback. And what's happened before is we've seen pullbacks into like 50-period moving averages, that would be $80.50. That seems like a little bit much. What about a pre-market, to be wrong, maybe down here, 81.25, something like that, so 75 cents or so worth of a shot there for Palantir, back to some of these breakout spots. And if you're going to use maybe, this candle, then you got to go all the, there's that 80.50. So back in, 81.25 or so, 75 cents worth of risk coming for Palantir right now. But we're in the position. Let's see what winds up happening right now for PLTR. Looks like we might have just punched the top, but again, that's part of it. It's 9:45.
I might have just punched the top, but if I punch the top and it sets right back up at the highs, then I want to try to get back in and then give it back into the prior high. So we had a couple of shorts on Intel. It did give you fills underneath that 23 very, very briefly, but now you're stepping into the upside. It just wicked the high up here and printed 23.38. So I'm going to give it to 40s. Again, going to keep it with tight stops out here. AMD's right back into that 100-half level as well. So AMD coming right back in. I said, if you're going to short it, wait for the actual top. That way it's a more reasonable risk level. I think we're breaking it out. I hate to say it. I really don't want to be long and breakout on Tesla at 285. It goes against the bias, but that's it. That's the technical trade. The level's 85. It's done the higher low. It's done the wipeout bottom. That's a breakout that I would take usually 8 or 9 times out of 10. And probably letting the bias get the best of me here on Tesla. So it could be a 285 break. It is what it is. I just said, that's a setup you take. False break of the bottom, held large support on the daily chart. It's one of those, either it works right away or it doesn't. Slap to stop it like, oops, that's not a 3-minute chart. Slap to stop. For me, I like to put a stop if it's a work right away or not at that 25-cent mark. That way, second it's back underneath, I don't mind getting out. That should be flying to 86, 87. Part of that's going to be the short bias today. I don't want to be hitting any kind of a top and holding on to it if it comes back in. AMD is starting to crest at that 100.5 level. 100 is just a round number. It is that $0.50 that matters to that stock.
All right. So Palantir did go up. I mean, we did get some fills up there. I mean, my best fill is right here, 25s. I can tell you exactly what my best fill is. Best fill on Palantir, 82.28. Looks like, 82.28 there for PLTR. So, we take a quarter. We took 25 cents on it. We'll wait to see now if it gets back upside. We talked about where our stop is down there at 81.25. So that stop is in right now. I did exit out of the TQs because I was thinking to myself, like, if the market does, we didn't have a big position, and I was thinking a little bit more wise to wait up here. If it pulls back, great. We'll take a bid down there still at VWAP at 71.25. But I wanted to exit out of at least half of the position just in case we did start to go, because I was noticing like, oh my God, I'm winning on Palantir, but then was losing a little bit there on the futures, and it didn't make too much sense. So I still like Palantir to ride. Let's see if it gets going. I mean, if the market blasts, then I'm certain this is going to be a good play. So let's go. I mean, we're trying to make some money here, so we'll see if Palantir can go. Hopefully it does. I do have another offer at 82.50, so hopefully that will fill, and we'll wait for it. That is Palantir. Let's check out on NVIDIA. Still 119 right now, not doing a whole heck of a lot. We will look at, I guess so. I mean, right now, hopefully it absolutely rips. We'll wait to see that. My AMD trade wasn't until 101, so we could wait for that. I mean, I'm still obviously going to be focused on PLTR. Tesla, another big name that a lot of you are going to look at here. We will look, wow, okay, Tesla. I mean, Palantir's been great, but Tesla's been greater. There goes Palantir Tesla up to 285 and change. But we've got the banger on right now. It's going to be Palantir. So hopefully there it goes. Yes, sir. Holy shit, Neil. This is going to be a good one right now. Let's fire off the hot dog cannons right there for Palantir, as all good on that one right now. Soundhound upside as well. We did not buy some big bear AI, and maybe we should have, as that went from 480 all the way upside right now. So a nice little take there on PLTR.
Yeah, great look on PLTR. You just battled that 100-half again on AMD. We just shorted up at the top. We're trying to get filled at 100. I have an offer here at 132 to try to get another fill up at that top. 100.5 is going to be the out. So Tesla doesn't go right away. I want to keep it to a very, very tight stop, because I'm buying a high. It's a technical setup that I like, but I don't love it when I'm still feeling overall bearish off the morning. So not going to hold on to it into oblivion. If we do pull back, You've got VWAP at 79. You've got prior close at 82. So those are a couple of levels to join a trend that you can play into. But got to go back to where it all started, which was AMD wanting it off of that 100.5 over/under. Hasn't broken it yet, so we're still trying to add to the short and see if we can't get this one back down into VWAP as it starts to pull back in. And AMD goes, NVIDIA goes as well, but this time, I would almost argue you have a little bit more strength in AMD than NVIDIA. It's not usually the case. It's only down 0.4, but worth keeping an eye on. NVIDIA does not break the 120. I feel like if we get back to the lows, they're both going to head to the low of the day. But for now, have to keep an eye on the relative strength that AMD is showing.
So no money-making trades or no money-making ideas yet here on the show, but stick with us and we'll get going a little bit here, hopefully. I mean, the market's been pretty choppy so far, so it looks like here it comes right back in as well. Palantir, we were just in the money 50 cents, now we're out of the money 50 cents. So, I mean, sticking with what, there we go, we get some out for flat there because we did punch back in near that low. So, remember where our stop was going to be 81 and a quarter. So that came pretty close again to hitting for us. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to go 0 for 2 with the TQs and with I mean, if I flatten out a Palantir, it's a loser, right? But we'll wait to see what winds up happening here with PLTR. But yeah, man, no ideas yet. I mean, in and out there at Tesla. We'll wait to see what happens. Intel, AMD also will be traded today. Let's check out Amazon to see what's going on over there. It's taking risks when the futures really aren't doing a whole heck of a lot. So, maybe that's where I was saying about waiting for the TQs, something to actually settle. Like they gave us a bottom here on Amazon, but again, that was only like a little 4-minute sort of take there early, right? If the NASDAQ kept on going down, then that would have obviously broken. And just kind of like you're getting a top read right here at 209 and change. All right, man. Let's go over to the ad read.
Shout out to OGEN because each year 3.8 million concussions are reported in the US, yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Origenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Scan the QR code you see in front of you. Check them out, OGEN, over on the NYSE. Shout out to them. NVIDIA still holding VWAP. AMD still holding VWAP as they're trying to both head back into the downside. Obviously, they're going to follow each other to a certain extent, but both holding higher lows. This could be a bit of a trend break on NVIDIA, and that will mean if we do break VWAP here, I might not be able to get filled up in that 100s 30 level. I got 22s and I was sitting Larry Bird 33s. So if we don't get that fill, might look for some kind of a trend break, but that won't come until underneath VWAP. Tesla coming right back in. That's why we didn't want to hold that breakout trade. And Rocket Lab, first shot underneath the 18 level, it's now reverting past the 19. Want to see if it can't fill in the gap a little bit more. Only want mean reversion trades on this thing. It's going to move a ton. For a $19 stock, it's going to move dollars at a time. Want to make sure it's tight entries on Rocket Lab. We're going to take a couple of shots at this name. Haven't really looked at anything else outside of the 4 that we've been talking about here. But if there's anything else you guys are watching that's moving, let us know for sure. The market is still inside of the range that we put in the pre-market. So we haven't really broken out in either direction. So don't want to get too far away with any new ideas because most things should still be in the pocket.
Yeah, it looks like, so we actually missed our fill there. Now it looks like we're going to have to drip down to 80.75. There it goes. So we get out of 75% of the trade on Palantir, and it just hits into VWAP. So I didn't want to get out of all of it, but it definitely is weaker down here. Now I'm just thinking of like maybe taking an 81 break back up to the upside and just trying to hold on a little bit to this. But as Neil said, man, it's been a very disastrous day across the board here for us, but we'll wait to see if we can get just a little bit better and maybe get a rally there. I don't know. I mean, we were thinking short already today, and it's like Now it just looks like we get that same thing. We get that drop, then we get that pop, then we get the drop again. So yeah, right now, not working out necessarily the greatest here for me on Palantir, but we'll give it another shot if it does break through 81. I just wanted to take out some of that pressure down at the 50 period. I was going to get out at 81.25. We did talk about that. That looks like obviously that would have been a good decision, but at the end of the day, like, I wanted to at least give it to the 50 period. We've seen it hold that before. Now we wait to see if it can battle with VWAP. Looks like it is battling with it, but not winning. So we'll hold on to 25% of this trade as it just keeps on getting to the downside. And like, if we just stuck with the Qs, I think we would have been fine, as this is now dripping down into lows one more time. So looks like things have changed for sure here. Winds are changing in the market, and the shorts are what coming in really big time right now. So yeah, Google's been hit obviously as well. So 168, 169 coming for Google. Good move up though, right? I mean, this actually doesn't look as bad. I mean, some of these names, Nasdaq's only down 0.25. So if we do get that rally, you know, there is something to it, I guess. All right, let's just hold on to the TQs there. Nasdaq and NVIDIA 118. What else you guys want to look at, man? I mean,
Apple's not bad,
maybe.
but
Yeah,
there was a big drop on Meta that's worth watching. Just very quickly here, since break of high, new trend from when we took the first trend break on Rocket Lab, there's second trend break, stop at the prior high. If it breaks the new high, we're out of the trade. If it gets to VWAP, I'm out of the trade as well for a profit target down there. So pretty standard play. I was just sort of saying Apple showing some signs of life. It's hugging onto VWAP. Apple breaking down to 235 at the open. It's worth mentioning, if it gets to 240, that is the 50 period on the daily. So all bets are off if it starts to challenge that range. But that's another bottoming tail candle putting in some higher lows. So there is some strength coming into a few names in the market that are worth watching for sure. AMD, still same story. It hasn't been able to fill above the 100 level for a bit, but it's still holding higher lows. So we're still looking to get back into this one. If we can't add in the 100 to 30 level, we're going to have to play it off of VWAP, but it's only 10 o'clock now. I would say like at 10 o'clock, that's that moment where you've had the opening range and you just want to start doing a little bit of work. Like, what's the opening range on the stock you're watching? Has the profile changed? Again, why I didn't hold on to Tesla, because I think if you put in higher lows and we start making a trend up, then I can start working the trend up as opposed to the breakout trade. So that moment's happening now for a lot of names, and this is where you want to start to observe, hey, something changed on the stock I'm watching. Is there a new level coming in? Do I need to reverse or at least get out of what I'm doing? For Tesla, I want to try this long as it holds on to the trend that it's now starting to form. You just put in a second higher low or third higher low. If it can hold on to this, great. If it doesn't, I don't have to take the trade. So Rocket Lab reversion, we'll take it a second time, and we're not in Tesla yet. AMD, we're still trying to add to it at 133, I believe.
Right. Yeah, look, we took the break again on Palantir, thinking that maybe it was going to break through $81. It did. It went to 81.15, but then it completely stopped. We didn't get anything out on the top side. That's our average price, actually, 81.12. So here it is right now, trying to see if this wants, like, here it is right back to 81 again. You know, you don't want to just, okay, well, here it comes. So nice little move upside now for Palantir. Let's see if it goes. Finally, a nice little move there northbound for PLTR. Look at the market. There we go, Neil, finally starting to go up to the upside. But again, look at that, just stalled completely. Like, it couldn't get going again. Stops completely at the 200 period moving average. Like, the frustrations that I'm having right now are pretty large. But okay, there we go. 81.60 now finally starting to go, man. 70-cent winner on Palantir. Frustrated with it, obviously, but let's just see where we wind up going now. My stop was going to be at VWAP, so 80.50 break. We're going to be out of that one. But I would love to be able to hold this a little bit longer, but I'm scarred. So, you know, emotional damage definitely taking effect this week. And you could see there, okay, here we go. So more outs there in the 70s. We got to take some profit because, like, I'm battling back pretty much like every day. And it's just, you know, don't need to be like that. But again, if you're going to actually try to make money, you're going to take hits, right? I mean, and we talk about that. It's part of the game. Shout out to Sharif and Obi and those kind of traders that talk like this all the time, and we all do. Neil, every one of us, Joe. So, you know, if you're going to put on trades, you might as well see if they can work. So let's give this a little bit of a chance here with Palantir now. Now up 70 cents. Obviously, it's going to be notionally a monster position and whatever. We've already traded thousands of shares of both of these, the TQs and Palantir. So we've only made 2 trades today. Looks like we'll go 1 for 2 over here and be somewhat successful. So patience, playing the game right now seems to be working. Oh boy, Neil. Why do we get out, man? Too much emotional damage, but holy shnikes, there it is, man. It's your biggest trade of the day by far here with PLTR. Thankfully, we got it.
Yeah, and now the market's really giving you a trend to the upside. It looks like the long is going to be the right way to go. AMD is going to get out in about 5 or 6 cents. It hasn't happened yet. Okay, it hasn't actually stopped out yet. I was about to say it just came within like 2 or 3 cents. Tesla held on to the trend that was right here at 280, kind of quick. Be able to see it. It held on to this trend line and bounced off 280. Got it back through the prior low at 281. It just, as quickly as it went to 283, it's just come back to 281. Like, that's how fast things are moving here at the open. Here, even on Tesla, like, it just gave you like $1.50, and it's right back to testing that low. Like, did not get stopped out of AMD. All right, and then here comes Tesla back through 280. So you got to take the profits when they're there. If we can hold on to this 280 level, I don't mind a reload, but I'm not going to fight this one. If we break that trend, you got to be thinking about just get out and work to the next trade. And now all of a sudden, AMD went from stopping out or almost stopping out at that pre-market high to right back to retesting the 100 level. So AMD goes in, AMD barely breaks. Don't put even dollar stops, everybody, and you're right back, coming back into the downside. The market is giving you these scalp trading opportunities, I think. And if you're looking for like that hold long trend trade, it hasn't really happened. Some of the long if you've got the bottom, but I was telling you, I was like 2 cents away from getting stopped out at like 67 on AMD. And now we're going to retest VWAP. Okay, that's how it's going to be.
And they call us professionals. Shout out to everybody today. It's been a tough one for sure as we go, man. I mean, if we're having a hard time trying to make some money, I wonder what you guys are trying to do as well. So let me know in the chat where your plays are coming from and what you guys are looking at right now as well. As you can see, we're going to go 0 for 2, but Palantir pending right now. So those are some plays that we've looked at. I think Tesla's going to be a good one to trade at some point today. Shout out to everybody that's watching us for the first time, man. We're in a dollar winner with Palantir, but we already had, it was $1.50 and then stopped completely, right? So ARM, Netflix, Intel. I know you were in and out of Intel there. Let me have a quick look at that as well. $24. Intel absolutely ripping to the high side as well. Wow, good move ups there for Intel today as that name keeps on going higher and higher and higher. I don't know if there was just news there or not. We don't have anybody working the news desk today, so if there is anything that hits, we'll try to get it to you. My Benzinga squawk really isn't doing anything either, so we will wait to see where that's all going. I'm just going to be patient. Look, man, my best outs are up here, 82.25. We do have some good outs for Palantir. That most recent run-up was pretty good as well, up to 82 and change. Look, we like the 82 break, so when it broke back above 81, we took a shot there, holding VWAP, holding that bottom, and then getting out at past resistance. Resistance, yeah, I mean, I don't know where the support's going to be, but we did have resistance up here near 82, so that indicated level gave us a nice trade to the upside. We're able to battle some back, but as we said, man, still not going to be green on the day here today. It's only 10:05. We take hits early, but we're trying to absorb them a little bit here and see if we can get the right actionable trades now in this space. So with that being said, I always want to look back to NVIDIA because that's going to be a runner, but look at today. People can't figure this thing out. This is why I'm excited a little bit for the market. Imagine NVIDIA actually go. I mean, NVIDIA could go either way. We have our stop outs ready to go for Palantir, right? So actually, I'm going to get out of another. I'm just going to get out of it's like 2 or 3% every time right here. So we'll have to watch out to see what winds up happening. But hopefully we can get back to the upside. And what I was saying about NVIDIA is like if the market actually goes, then oh boy, Palantir should kick up with it. NVIDIA should make that rally go upside as well. So I'm long. I'm long. Neil's short. That's how confusing a day this has been. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening right now.
Yeah, it's one of those mornings. It's very, very choppy, but it's upward trending. There's no question about that. Like if you get in and where your ins are getting higher and where your outs are getting higher, then that means you're trending into the upside. So even when you're able to scalp some out, it's still looking relatively strong. I mean, Tesla, which was just giving you that reversion trade off the high, just bounced off VWAP. But look at how choppy it is. I want to see a little bit more distinct action. I feel like the clarity of yesterday, if you can call it that, it was a little bit more clear yesterday, no question about it. Like yesterday it was like a challenging morning, but the levels were much more clean, so you're able to keep things a little bit tighter to the vest. It hasn't been that kind of a morning. I would say that NVIDIA, the more I look at it, I'm trading AMD, is much more clear than AMD right now. Like it's got a nice tight range. You're seeing support levels hold almost on a dime. The 120 level, it's not really the actual high because the pre-market highs you were trading up as high as like 121, but there was resistance in here. It's giving you a very clean stair-step type of move without all these crazy wicks. So in that vein, as long as it's above VWAP, this feels like a better place to be joining because it's giving you some more clean levels to work off of. NVIDIA is. So if you make the next stair-step up, look for it to maybe give some kind of a long off 119. I actually thought we were tanking today, so I was going long 113. On NVIDIA, but we're not going to get 113. So you can pretty much forget about something like that and then just work to something different. Always willing to move on to the next trade. If a stock isn't giving you the setup you want, then you move on. I said I'd take multiple shots at Rocket Lab. I almost typed in Roblox there. Rocket Lab only wanting the mean reversion trade. So when it gives, the next level was 19. It did it at 18, did a curl, broke trend, get in. VWAP's going to be $1 away most times. I want to keep most of the stops to that 15 to 20 cent range. It's now testing the gap fill into 20. I'm only taking mean reverts on this. If it gets to 20 bucks, I'll look for the same setup that we had before. Very binary with Rocket Lab at least, as it's getting its recovery. Could test red to green. But then keep in mind what it's done on the daily chart. This has been bleeding for a hot minute now, so it's only one green day, even if it puts this one in going green. I don't know why that's green on the daily chart.
Yeah. All right, so having some patience here with Palantir is definitely paying off. Palantir will be the only green stock that we have between us today. So let's see. And again, it's just the hold, right? It's the hold there that's been working. Look, it was severely red. Like this stock was bad. It was the worst stock of the day into the best stock of the day. And again, a part of that is just, I don't want to say, I mean, you know, fluke is fluke, but when you're calling plays and they actually work out, you know, you should celebrate them a little bit. So there it goes. Nice play here for Palantir. It just keeps on going to that upside as we go. So we'll go 1 for 2 today. And yeah, the TQs was just a little bit, but first of all, we didn't have that many, like, we'll lose on it, but it was more right here. This last little take right into there. We switched up our game plan and we actually got out there and then got out there. So we take a little bit of an L at the last trade of the TQQs. It was more just this play, taking some profit, then averaging it and then getting stopped out right there. So we will be red on the TQQs, but as I said, temporarily green right now on Palantir. I'm going to get another piece here in the high 90s as there it goes. Nice move to the upside. So yeah, man, I know it's been a rough day, obviously, if you've been following us, but we're going to try to turn those frowns upside down. And like I said, if you're here with this Palantir trade, and if you followed every single trade here for Palantir, you would have gone short there, then you would have gone out at the 50-period moving average. Then I don't know if many of you would have sold right there. We got out of 75%. You know, I just didn't trust it as much there. We've seen, like I told you, man, too much emotional damage from this market this week. But there it goes. Nice upside move. It is your first $2 club winner and your first winner today with Palantir for me. So here we go. Upside plays on Palantir. Yeah, not much else going on right now for me. So I'm just going to sit back and relax and watch this. We're now 250 in the money on probably, for me, one of the biggest Palantir positions I ever had. So there it goes, upside on PLTR. It's a big-time winner.
Yeah, great look over there. I mean, I haven't had a single trade that's been of any scale relative to the ones yesterday because nothing's been as good. That said, we're coming back to NVIDIA. Abort the short because that's what you have to be able to do. Don't want to fight anything. It's got to be the setup. Just be patient. Keep things in the pocket. The NVIDIA, I just saw Latif just said, I'll take one. Yeah, because Randy's not here, and I'm like, man, I could kill for a coffee, but I appreciate it, Sean. Shoot, Latif just said NVIDIA's gone green. It just tested green. Now, the way this market's been choppy around there, no, we wanted that on the way up. Forget about it on the way back down. The way the market's been choppy, when it shows you something like this, which is, nice little higher low, hopefully another higher low gets put in. My first spot is to either look for VWAP or the prior high, resistance at 119, see all those wicks. Can it start to hold on to 119? It's that, or it's going to be, that's NVIDIA, or it's going to be this Rocket Lab. Because Rocket Lab's the only thing for me that's setting up. And again, I could get to the 21st. If it gets to 20, then I just look for a topping tail candle at 20, or I just stay on target, right? Like the setup that's worked the best for me recently has been the mean reversions. Like yesterday, Intel mean reverted and was like a 4% down move. So if we catch one of those when the market is, I don't know, it's essentially very, very choppy. Like you're step up, but this is the ES, man. You haven't broken the highs on the ES. You're trying to get higher. And if you're not breaking out the top, then I'm not getting too far away from what I'm trying to accomplish earlier. I think that's the same thing. It's worked all week, all month. It's been a good month. But until we actually break out that top, I don't want to be chasing anything too high. You got to give me some kind of a dip buy if I think it's strong. And I want to be able to still play reversions while the NASDAQ and the ES are just pressing to overnight highs. But if you're doing that, you've got to take the actual setup. If it's screaming up, be willing to get in, be willing to follow your rules and get out. That way you can hold a big winner, but you're not bleeding it all the way down into some kind of a huge losing trade. Now NVIDIA is looking green, going green or holding green. So it doesn't get down to the 119 level. It's still pressing into pre-market highs. I did say 125 was a reversion trade, but there's a lot of room before we get there. So if 19 isn't going to give us an entry, we'll wait for some kind of a consolidation, maybe off the 120. I want to see something like this. Confirmation of a new fresh low, and then join the trade back into the upside. Now, I haven't traded any Palantir. I know Sean has, and that one's still heading higher. Bitcoin is now broken 83, and it is going to go, I don't want to say parabolic, but if this gets green, a lot of this started with BTC flushing. You just broke the double low here on IBIT at 47 even. So this or NVIDIA, those would be the things I work into it for a long idea. Didn't have a lot of long ideas. You have to look at what's trending and what's at key levels. So I like prior resistance or support going in the other direction. This support here at 46.9 on IBIT gives me something to pull back into for a trend trade, and a similar thing with NVDA. NVIDIA is going to give you this 120 level from the bottoms yesterday to give you some kind of a dip buy. Feels like IBIT's going to be a little bit more realistic in terms of finding along off that 47 level, because now the market's taken out those highs. This is why I abort the short. The long can't be wrong.
The heck is Sharif?
Maybe we'll actually see Luca today, because that was his line. Oh,
I think we are seeing Luca today. All right, I gotta probably.
Oh, needed that.
Oh no, I actually am live. Okay. All right. So, are we finally live yet on air here? I'm a little nervous about trading in front of everybody. All right. So, oh boy, we're gonna be green on the day. That is crazy, right there, considering where we were at one point. But there it goes, man. Again, we talked about it. I'm not going to go on any tangents here, because there's really nothing left to prove about the way I'm trading. But we have right there, right? Palantir long at $82. We wanted to stick with the long on Palantir if it got going. We know the excitement that can get behind this name. So if today was going to be a rally day, I wanted NVIDIA short at 120. We can have a look at that. We talked about the TQs at 72. We can have another look at that. And then AMD at 101. So, oh boy. Look, we didn't have that many shares on this. It wasn't even in the thousands, but it was getting to that spot. But if you're just going to look up here, just real quickly, AMD 101. I just want to look back at some of the ideas that we had. So here's AMD at 101. So this could potentially be a short right here. Here's NVIDIA. We stayed away from it. Bang. We said that we wanted to be in a long in case NVIDIA did this. So there it goes. We ignored the 120 short. We don't have that. Neil mentioned earlier on in the day something in and around that 125. So maybe that can come in.
It could happen.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that's the level. I sure as hell hope it is, because if we get up there, then yippity doodah on that one. Another out there at 83.40s for Palantir as that came out. And then the other trade that we were looking at too was the TQQs shorting at 72. So a lot of these plays are here at these levels right now. It only took 45 minutes to get there, but at the end of the day, we still got here, right? So if you're looking to go short, these were levels that I had talked about. It's stupid that I lost $100 or whatever here on the TQs, because that was, and again, I'm not throwing out these numbers for any reason. I'm just letting you guys know, like, some of these plays aren't really the end of the world, considering we're in much more than a $100 winner just right now. And I only have basically 20% left of this trade, and we're covering up everything right now. So good trading there. Stick with what you want to do, and just be confident in what you're doing, right? I mean, as Neil mentioned there, bunch of small cuts. I mean, I don't know what classifies a big cut, but for me, I was getting cut up when we were losing here, right? Because I took a shot and then we waited. And I think this has been the key for me. Let it fall in, take your outs where outs are, but then once you get going again, try to get back into it. Try to find names that you believe in and go with it, right? It's like, if you like the Intel long today, you might have got stopped out somewhere in here. I know you were short, you get stopped out, but then if you like the long, then that's kind of where you say, okay, it's time to push, because you're above VWAP, you're above the 200, it's time to go. So I'm here to put on those trades, and it's really great when they do work out. And some days they don't. At the end of it all, we'll be green for the month. Not going to be certain what's going to happen at the end of the day here, but I don't think nothing should affect that though. But we'll wait to see what winds up happening. It is the last day of the month. We do have some imbalances coming. And honestly, for this move up here in Palantir, I don't know how much more juice it has. Like yesterday's, that's not even yesterday. Right there. This is yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was $85, right? Yeah, okay. So, all right, we still have ways to go. I actually thought we were a little closer to this. We still can get up here to $84.50 and $85. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening right into there, but 84.50, 85, definitely some target zones for me. So now that we're lighter and lighter on this play, I think it's about time to let it go a little bit here, as Elsa would say, or whoever says that. Is it Anna? Is it Elsa? It's Elsa. So $82 there, maybe as a stopping spot for this trade. But yeah, let's let it go up to the upside a little bit there. We'll get something out if it breaks through 83. I mean, I don't want to ignore these wicks. So let's put it out 83, 82. Let's just keep it easy. 82.99. If we break that, let's get out of like 25% of, okay, it's going to happen right now. I better put the order out to get out. Oh, I got to cancel my old one. So my stop on this initially, you guys know where that was. I'm going to put this in 82.94s. Let's let it break a little bit. So we're only going to get out 25%. So right there. So a break below 83, and we'll get out of a quarter of that, meaning that let's get out of another quarter if it gets back up to $84. So we'll put another offer up there, and then if it hits, great. If not, we sort of have our plan of action. So that's what we're dealing with right now. The TQs looks like it does want to fade off our 72 mark, but it's just right there right now. I'm cheering for the long rather than the short. Aura 10%.
Yeah, I'm cheering for just a reversion at this point, because at these highs, instead of not going to be chasing it, here's AMD just... There's the trend from the higher low. Here's Rocket Lab as well, the trend from the higher low. Break tops, get out as you're breaking the trend line. Rocket Lab's just at the $20 level. It now has put in, like, there's connecting the bottom to 19. Bit of a topping tail candle at the 20 even on Rocket Lab. So big rocket ship, it just went red to green. So obviously it's had a huge recovery here. Needs to close underneath 19.8. If we close underneath 19.8, then I'm jumping into this. I feel like it's going to be the next one. I just saw in the chat, George S. said Tesla to 300.
Boom.
That's actually not crazy.
Let's go.
It's not crazy. Like $300 is essentially it's not yesterday at the open, but I mean, effectively yesterday in the pre-market, you're talking 298. So like this is not unrealistic for Tesla. First breakout trade didn't work. We did have $1.50 win, and then we stopped out. So second trade was actually more flat than anything else because we were still holding on to some on the way through. But I want to see if we can't get a higher low. It's got crazy action on the 3-minute, but the 15-minute is actually relatively clean on Tesla with the last higher low. So if it can do this and hold the pre-market highs, I'm only looking long on Tesla after that bottoming tail candle and the holding of the 200 period moving average. So I'm favoring the long trade here. It just hasn't been clean yet outside of the back through VWAP. It feels like you want it on the way back through. Like I like the entry after a dip and then try and catch the long back through. The Rocket Lab still, I mean, it's still chilling out here above the $20 level, so you haven't failed this 20 yet. But if we do, that's the next trade for me unless Tesla does a pullback in the next few seconds, which it doesn't look like it wants to.
Yeah. You caught me there in the chat. Whoever said that, yeah, I don't know who's saying that. Let it go. Yeah, we had Anna at one of my daughter's birthday parties.
You got it right, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I knew it was Elsa. Yeah. I haven't watched that in a minute. I liked Olaf.
It's not that good.
I liked Olaf. I probably watched about 1,400 times. Shout out to Elsa. Elsa's in the chat. Okay.
We watched those, I don't know.
Let it go, baby.
We watched those way too much.
Let it go.
It was a whole phase where that's the only thing my daughter wanted to watch. And they're good movies. It's just that some things are, like I watched Moana 50 times. I feel like that's
I haven't watched
better.
Moana 2 yet, though. I heard that was a disaster, but
it's not a no. The music's just not as good.
Oh, okay,
Lin-Manuel didn't do the music.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I remember you saying that there was no real bangers there.
Yeah, the movies.
I had started watching a little bit. My kids are too old anyways.
When I watched the first one, I was thinking of those songs for days. When you watch the second one, actually right now, I couldn't give you one line of a single song from Moana 2. And that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're not forgetting about Bruno, so... singing is not my strength. No, it's not. It's definitely not my strength. That is for sure.
Yeah,
it's not many people's strengths around here. You should hear what happens when the mics are turned off around here. Oh my God.
I don't sing.
Somebody get me a noose. Okay, so all right, we'll just wait. So honestly, man, we got it. So Palantir, the face slapper, the money maker, the shot caller. Great stock today. It's only up. It's not even up yet. It's still down 1%. So here we go, man. We had indicated some levels. We said 84.50. Let's go to 84.40. Let's go to 84.30 and get out of a little bit of this trade as well if it does come back up to upside. Yo, what's up, Adam DeLuz, my guy over there. Thanks for the matcha when you were here there. I hope you enjoyed your trip. And then me and Adam and his girlfriend, we went out for dinner. It was really nice after one of the days. I don't know what day it was, the day before he went home there. Okay, so look, man, it's something special when the stocks actually do what you think they're going to do, and that's what happened here today with Palantir. We actually just got that fill right there. You know, if you don't sit around and put out offers, you don't get the fill. So right there, man, we'll go from basically down a bunch to up. So we'll props it up that the more calm down, sit here, chill out kind of trading appears to once again work. So we'll just continue with that sort of positivity and those vibes here, talk about some of the plays that we like. And there we go. What's up, Fud Farm? Yeah, I mean, send your girlfriend over here. I'll take her out for dinner if you want, my guy. But yeah, at the end of the day, 84.50 and change, 84.30, just took that out. Neil, this is like, I'm sitting on here just relaxed and calm, but it's a $1, a $2, a $3 winner right there now for Palantir. And we were nervous when we punched into it. It didn't even go for us immediately. This actually would have stopped out, I don't know. I mean, we almost got stopped out ourselves. 81 flat goes down to 80.65 right there. And now you're getting this monster move up. So, yeah, so far so good, man. The TQ's blowing out. I thought you were back into a short there of AMD, but I guess maybe that didn't work. The market is absolutely ripping right now. So I think like I'm with everybody here. Let's just wait. I think.
No, the only-
Or the long, maybe. Go long.
Well, I'm waiting for a long in Tesla. We had a couple longs in Tesla. It's a mixed result. The breakout didn't work. The dip buy was kind of mixed. I mean, it did give you $1.50 initially.
Okay.
But then it came back and lost about like 70 cents on the way back in. But it just has not been clean on Tesla. It's Rocket Labs that's the next one for me. Like I said, I'm not chasing any highs. You're past 10:30. Like it's the time of day where usually you're winding down. So like the morning is what it is. Yesterday was a pretty good lunchtime and afternoon. I don't know if we'll get the same thing, but Rocket Lab is continuing this upward trend, and it's just made another break. So this was the trend that was trying to break before. It just put in another high break through 19. So, what I usually do here is throw this one out and then wait for this to break on Rocket Labs. Like that's going to be, barring the next pullback on Tesla, that's going to be the next trade for me. Tesla, we were just looking for a pullback into 84, and it just dipped into 87. So like that's a full % away from where we're trying to grab this one, and it's right into some resistance at 292. So I'm not shorting that on Tesla. That's not the plan of action here. But it is to try to take those stairs up and find a good entry. So it's got to be an entry. If I can't find an out, which like the last trade, we had ourselves an out. Like it made this bottom here at 280. So it allowed me to take this back through and then have my out predefined. That's the kind of trade I want. Never want to get into a trade if I don't have an out in mind ahead of time. So ideally, you hold something obvious like 86, or you just come down into VWAP because it's a very steep trend line and I'm not punching those highs. 237. SMCI, good move into green territory. That's one that we did not trade here today, but it's not green yet. Not split adjusted. SMCI closed at 43, so if it breaks 43, it's going green. This probably has one of the larger gap fills, but it's actually 44. It's kind of crazy, but 44 is the big level. And there was just no chance I was thinking about that when it was at $39. Prior low, 44, afternoon resistance on SMCI, which I guess we talked about in the afternoon show if you watched it. That's the big level on SMCI for me today is at 44. So it's got room to go. I'm looking at Tesla right now, so I don't know if I'm going to be jumping into this one. Rocket Lab or SMCI would be the question I have to ask myself. Rocket Lab was part of the plan for reversions. SMCI wasn't. So I'm going to stay away from SMCI. I'll probably come back, and that's a good look underneath that 43 level. But Rocket Lab's going to try to break trend right here. So
yeah,
I said it's that or Tesla, and Rocket Lab is now attempting to break the trend. It'll now be underneath 20 and a quarter, like 2020. That's the break. VWAP is way too far away. 10% down is where VWAP is sitting. So that's not a VWAP trade for me. It's into 19 to 19.2, the last level of support.
All right, we've only traded the two names, but I do like looking like Rocket Lab had the report yesterday, and I just want to say like all the names that we've been trading today, I'll just, AMD, Intel, Tesla, Rocket Labs, Palantir, the futures, like I said, we don't really trade too many small cap names, but we will on the midday show have Joe and Sharif looking at many of these names, including a Big Bear AI up 2 and a bit percentage points. If there is anything else there that wants to go MSTR, yeah, I mean, that's probably really on. Let's go, man. This is a big trade, honestly. MSTR, what's going on? And NASDAQ. This Palantir trade right now is $350 in the money. And honestly, man, it's really made a big... The confidence and everything that I'm getting like every single day on becoming more and more comfortable trading with much bigger share size is becoming a problem because like I'm getting that itch now to even go even bigger, and then it's going to be an oh boy situation at that point. But like right here we go. 84.69 right now was the high right there for Palantir. So we had sort of done the work here, and it looks like we will start to cash out right in this area as we had mentioned. This was the area of concern for us. So right now I have much less than 10%, probably like 4 or 5% left on this Palantir trade. So it's been a good one. We'll just continue to see if we can, sort of continue to make some good plays here and just keep on going. Yeah, don't tell that to my wife there, pro day trader. Okay, AAPL, join the chat if you want to be part of all of this fun, man. Let me see how many people are here right now today. As we're green, I'm green on the day. So it's going to be a good day here so far. not good quality. There we go. But how many we got? 1.1K, over 10,000 of you watching right now. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe, get that going for us if you can. You know, what's up to Debbie there, David's mom? Maybe she's hit the like and the subscribe as well. So everybody join us here today as we are going. Yeah, it's like I said, man, it's a little bit different. You know, you get shut down when you use bigger size, but you know, at the same time, if you're not actually making or losing money, then you're kind of just adding liquidity. And what we're trying to do right now is not adding liquidity as a strategy. What I'm talking about is like, and I said this the other day to, I believe it was Obi and Adara. They were staying late after the recap show there that one day. And I was like, what's really the point of making or losing like a couple $100 a day? Because at the end of the day, you need to be greater positive days than negative days. And I think once you can get that figured out, then that's when you start to up your share sizes. Because like to make $1,000 today to lose it tomorrow, who cares? Obviously you're using big share size because you make $1,000. But then if you lose it the next day, it's the same thing as trading baby shares and making or losing $10 a day. Right? And so it's like, it's about the consistency. And then after that, you start to ramp it up. So don't do anything until you're a little bit more consistent. We were lucky enough to have 12 and a half years, Neil, of no red months. Wow. So, I mean, there's, you know, we're one of the lead head traders here, obviously at Real Trading. My job before this was to teach traders across our whole platform, thousands of them, these kind of styles and these mentalities and things like that. And I'm more than happy now, including I hired Neil, you know, built up many different floors around the world. Shout out to all of our friends that are still watching. Shout out to Luis Barbado there in Barcelona as well, a good friend from a long time ago. So we'll just keep on doing what we're doing, man. And it starts with confidence and it starts with ability. They just both got to go hand in hand. And when you have that, it's a magical thing.
It is a magical thing. And that's the thing about trading is it's always going to give you an opportunity every single day. It's going to be different from before. Like we were joking around. Well, I wasn't joking around when I said 125 on NVIDIA, but it was the only level I liked. Like NVIDIA 113, obviously I liked that for long, but it never got there. So 125, I said I'm not going to take any shots on it. AMD was at that 100 and a half, so I'll take a couple of shots there. But until you get to that 125, that's where you got to be able to let it fly. Already mentioned Rocket Lab making the reversion. We're about $1.50 away on NVIDIA, but there's the last reversion. When I say the last reversion, what I simply mean is if we break out that top, then it's like the last of the predetermined areas that I want to take a mean reversion short on Rocket Lab because that is going to be the high. So there's the 18 level, there was a 19 level, and then you had the aftermarket highs here at like 20 and a half where it just did a little bit of a curl. So that's where we take our trades, know the in, break the high, and we jump out of it. IBIT is doing a little bit of a pullback, but on a 15-minute, there actually hasn't been a dip yet on IBIT. So now looking at the higher time frame chart, I want some kind of a pullback on the 15-minute on both IBIT, Tesla. NVIDIA is probably too close to resistance, but Tesla still hasn't broken out. So let's see if we can't get this like 287, 288. See where we can grab this one over here on Tesla. Like the trend is a little bit too steep here on Tesla. If I wasn't already looking at that reversion at 125 on NVIDIA and already in Rocket Lab, I'd usually take a shot at this, but not the way Tesla's been going. I'd rather look for that long opportunity. So it's not really setting up.
Maybe we do get 300.
Well, I think it's a chance, but I don't think you get there without some kind of you're going to get another dip. We've already had a couple. I missed this one. We're able to take at least a shot at the one off VWAP. So the next dip we get, they've all been $2, $3 at a time, not $1, $1.50. So I'm thinking it's got to be a bigger dip than that to get me into the trade. Now we can see what happens. Mr. C said, can you check TQQQ?
Never heard of it.
Well, the NASDAQ, by the way, we're not in correction territory anymore, so, or at least within earshot of correction territory. We never got there in the first place. We didn't get down to, I think it's about 490 or 489 or something like that would have put us at 10% to the downside from the highs. You've actually regained 500 on the NQ. It is a bottoming tail reversal candle. So to me, it's either a very particular setup for shorts or you're looking to join longs. 502, that looks like a reasonable spot, pre-market consolidation areas where you might look for some kind of a long. That's just the stair-step play. individually, I just think Tesla's stronger than the market, so I'd rather look at Tesla and then stick with, Rocket Lab in here. First bid on Rocket Lab is where it last held support at 19.8, which will put us about 35 cents in the money. And then the next stop would be this consolidation here at the 50s, and then 19 is my out. This is not a hold till VWAP situation. Stock has been way too strong for that on Rocket Lab. Let's go take care of some business.
Yeah, let's go take care of some business.
Look at some trade rate.
Yeah, exactly. Check out eSignal right there as we look at some of our scanners as well. Look, this is the best promotion we've ever had, and it is a first month for free. They don't get that too often, so make sure that you do take advantage of that ASAP. Analyze, strategize, capitalize, backtest, minute charts, tick charts, second charts, all the kind of charts, any kind of charts you're looking for available with eSignal, including scanners. We just saw on the screen there customizable charts, but it's more about these tools that we're talking about. Neil just mentioned, let's look at some scanners, let's look at some hot rates, things like that. So that's what we're doing. Plus the back testing, stocks are rising. I like what that guy just typed in there into eSignal. Maybe we need to update that. Stocks are tanking. But no, there it is. It's the screeners. This is what we're talking about. Look at the different drop downs you can have on the left there. 52-week highs, lows, share price, PE ratios, bullish haramis, any sort of a signal right there. I have to, pass it off to the professor. I mean, I have no idea
what that is.
I have no idea what a bullish harami is or anything like that, although my kids are now watching.
You have to know what a harami is.
Yeah, exactly. What is a harami to begin with? And then the only thing I know is a Hadouken and for Street Fighter coming through today. But yeah, back testing. Okay. Forget about it. We're having a lot of fun here, but at the end of the day, I really do think you should scan that QR code because it's a month free. And I mean, just do as my kid does. Hey, Dad, can I sign up for this? There's a free trial, 5 days or whatever it is. Fine. He goes, but then don't worry, I will unsubscribe immediately. So he does the subscribe, unsubscribe. But I think it's worth testing it because you know what? I know a lot of you will give super chats and all that for great trades, but this is our chance to give back to you. I mean, it's a great piece of software, and I just think it can definitely help, especially with the back testing. And maybe at some point, maybe on the midday or something like that, or even now, we only have 20 minutes now, but we could do a little bit of a demonstration about how the charts work and some of the different things that we're looking at.
In real time. And it's not just
in real time. No, and that's what I was saying. It was the tools as well, right?
The imbalance locator, which we show you guys live every single day, is available on eSignal. You can add entitlements for just about anything. You want it, you get it. You don't want it, then don't pay for it. It's very customizable. Some of the what is harami, try to keep it clean in the chat, everybody. I saw a few things in there.
I like halal chicken.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a few things that are in there that are a little bit much. Bullish harami could be halal chicken. That's one you can read. There's been a couple of other ones that I will not read on air. But have fun, everybody. The market, this is the first red candle of substance on the NASDAQ coming in here. And look at this. Like Rocket Lab, when you take a mean usually the idea is that you get an inflection point and you have, it's not a flush, but it's like some stops run. So while it did come down, there hasn't been any parabolic move. I got the first target in front of 19.8, but that's about as far as it's going. If we break 1980, then I'm going to move my stop to a trend out situation because of how strong this move has been. That's just the nature of how strong it's been. It has nothing to do with the usual strategy. But here comes Tesla for the first time, and maybe we get that reversion into VWAP or into 286. So that could be the next place to go. Rocket Lab could get to 21 Charlie Taff. I think that's why you have to be able to, like on the fly, be able to change, like either your target's in or whatever your stop's going to be. Like, yeah, I like a reversion. I'll usually give it right to the high. But if it just slowly goes down and I see tape coming in with violently, why would I give it to the high of the day? If it supports that first level of support, I can move my stop to break even and make that judgment call. It comes at a cost, though. I just think it's better to be, especially on a morning where the setups haven't worked perfectly or all that well, I think you've got to be able to change your tune a little bit. Still going to hold on to it. It's still working for now, but I'm willing to change my tune if this 19.8 ends up holding in here, which it looks like it's not going to. And it's actually breaking down and accelerating through. So it looks like we're going to be able to get this adding through, and then now we go on the trend. So there's your trend down on a 3-minute chart. If we break this trend, I'm out of the trade, and maybe we can get to VWAP. We'll see. Still nothing on Tesla just yet, but I'm only looking long on that name.
Yeah, I just want to say, in just 20 minutes, we do have Joe coming through with Sharif. So we do have a question here in the chat from Kabu Talab. What happens if I short now a call on Tesla with a strike of 350? Well, it's not getting that. With 0-day today options at expiration, and Tesla doesn't make it, well, then you lose everything. With 0-day, if you don't hit that target and it's that far away, Joe will come in, and so get ready for 12, for 11 o'clock. We can talk about that. But for Tesla to get to 350 today, I'll just. You don't have to pay for it. I'll just give you the 0-day option if you want right now. And then it will cost, you shouldn't be paying anything for that. Okay, so that's, you won't receive it. There's really nothing there. But he says, what happens if I short now a call? I don't really, you mean write a call? I don't really know. No one's going to execute that. So I think what we'll do, Joe will call it up. I don't have the option chain right now, but you can go and find 0-day options that are maybe in and around 300. There's probably some interest there, of course, because remember you have day-to-day expiration at the end of the day. So it might be a little more expensive today on a Friday, especially after such a volatile week. So I'm going to leave that, and we'll talk more about it maybe coming into the close. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, when you're looking at options and things like that, the strike price has to hit. So if your strike price doesn't hit, then you want to get out of it as it becomes closer and closer to that price. So like I'm saying, if you come over to the screen right now, Tesla's at 290. So if you bought a call for $300, right now, let's just say it's worth 10 cents, okay? I have no idea, making this up. If it then goes, if this the price of Tesla goes to 293 right now, then that 10 cents might become worth 12 cents. Something like that, because it's getting closer and closer to that target. But remember, if at 358, the price is 298 or something like that, it's going to expire worthless because it's a 0-day option. So if you don't get to that price, it cannot be executed. And when it's not executed, it gets thrown in the garbage. So that's the one thing about options, especially with 0-day. And when you're looking at what's been happening the last little while into the end of the day for the stocks, that's what I think has put a lot of pressure on a lot of these names heading into the close, where traders, levels are breaking, right? Right near the end of the day. I can show you anything, it doesn't matter. Tesla's just been wild, but Nvidia or anything like that, levels are breaking around 1 or 2 o'clock. People are putting on those 0-day options a lot lower, and they're actually hitting. So probably going to be expensive on a day like today. But yeah, we'll figure it out right now. But good question. Joe, get them ready to go. He'll look at the option chain and maybe give you an idea of
he clarified.
Yeah, what's looking a little bit spicy there for 0-day options. So
yeah, I think the clarification was that they were selling.
Oh, well, either way, 350s.
Well, that's the thing. The strike is an impossible strike. It's a non-zero is the best way to answer it.
People are, they're 0 to 1 cent right now. Nobody is buying.
Nobody.
People here, Mr. Love Shack. There's people in Day Trader Cut. There's people on here.
Great community, guys.
Yeah, I know you're receiving the premium. That's what I was saying, Mr. Love Shack. But for 350, there should be no premium on that. But anyways, at the end of the day, that's trading options, and they're really exciting. I've never really traded it because I just sit here for 25 plus years and just trade equity with quite a significant sized account. So if I want to take a shot, I'll take a shot at any time. And so, yeah, that's what I do. We're basically playing 0-day options all day anyways, because we have to be flat at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's equity.
So that's 0-day calls or puts anyways. So the most I can hold this Palantir long is until 4:15. So that's the way it works around here. So glad to have had a much bigger rebound for today. Didn't want to end the day on a sour note. I don't think this will be my best day of the week, but it'll be right there. We were red, I think, the last 2 days, but today definitely back on the green side of things and looking to make some more trades with only 15 minutes to go before the midday.
Only 15 minutes. Yeah, it's one of those. Every day this week has been fast. Although this is only my third trading day this week, I did miss a couple for sure. The first two went better than this one, but I think we had the read right on Rocket Lab that either it's going to work here, breaking 19.8. We added at that price to get our average price to 20 and then stop it out, break even. So the last trade ends up being flat. The first two are obviously losers, but the last one will end up being flat. And again, just not holding it back into the high. It was just clearly, I don't know, it was just clearly a little bit stronger. When this reverts, oftentimes you're looking for it to immediately start flushing into the downside. When that doesn't happen, you got to be able to alter the plan just a little bit. So that's what we did there on Rocket Lab. Oftentimes, like I said, it's usually a very binary trade. Break trend, stop at high of day, but sometimes you got to be able to adjust. Had it held on to this downtrend, great, let it work. But tighten up that stop, make sure that you don't get absolutely bled, and then work on to what is going to be next. NVIDIA is still trying to pull back. It feels like a morning where you're not necessarily going to get VWAP. The detachment here is insane. About a couple of points here on NVIDIA, a couple of points on Tesla, actually $10 to VWAP on Tesla. It got nowhere near the 86 level. So even with this last little dip, they have not been huge ones. Gonna give it some time. I don't want to chase it too far. Want to make sure we stay in the pocket. Tesla is, I kind of like Tesla a little bit more than NVIDIA, just based on the way, you can see I always go back to it, just based on the way that it bottom tailed this low and the fact that it held a 200 period moving average. But this is the one that'll kind of, what me off a little bit. It's getting it in front of VWAP instead of letting it test VWAP first. So I think oftentimes the best trades are when it actually tests your level and not trying to anticipate getting it in front of your level. A lot of times that'll lead you into that trouble. So we've got a very clear higher low that it's put in. So I'll wait for it to either test that higher low, which lines perfectly up with 86. Maybe you get VWAP, I'm going to slap that on, and that's the way I'll join the trend here on Tesla. Glad we stayed away once Intel broke away from the highs. Like, look at how strong the sucker got. Keeping in mind a couple of things on Intel. That's my NQ chart there. Let's get that out of the way. Intel's high of the day is a 200 period moving average, and it's got a double top up there. So Intel, while it's very strong, if it pushes back and holds yesterday's high again, this is where we had the short from yesterday that was so good. And you try it off the bottom, takes out that top. You try it off the pre-market high, it takes out that top. This is the next level. It's kind of a ridiculous candle on the 15 in that you almost can't get into it on this. It's just way too deep. But if it pulls back up higher, I think there's another reversion trade coming in off that high on Intel. And all you can do is wait for it to fill in the gap. If you're not long here, then letting it test that next high is the way to go. At least it is for me, with only a couple of minutes to go here until 10:50. Quick morning as it's gone through. And it was doom and gloom, and the market's up 0.5%. Although Bitcoin's still under 85K. So.
Yeah, Bitcoin is still hovering. Look, man, I see everybody in the chat. I want to thank everybody for all the support. And I know people are like, they want to see us on all day. And yeah, we've taken that feedback and changes are coming. So get ready for more of this, man. It's going to be more of this all day, every day. So changes are coming, and we really appreciate that. Thank you, Tia. Yeah, the personality. I'm never going to change. And like I said, I do pride myself on being as upfront and into it as possible. I'm probably the only guy that will tell you never get into day trading. So hopefully that's real enough for you guys. But it's a very tough business. That's why we have the show. That's why we talk like this. I remember when I first opened up my first office, hired Neil, hired lots of guys around here, and we were, they used to send traders and managers from all around the world that were going to open up offices, sit them down in a room with me and ask me all the questions, and they loved when I would talk like that. I was like, look, man, opening up an office full of traders is completely a tough business, one that of course you can succeed in, but you have to be disciplined, and that's what's part of prop trading, setting limits, setting loss limits, having the ability to trade different styles, right? And just doing it like the way we're doing it right now. And if you're gonna ask me right here, I'm 1 for 2 today. I've only traded 2 names. We traded the futures, we left that go, right? Fine. But then we go over here, and now we trade on to Palantir, and we sit there and we trade that, and it's gonna be a green day for me today. So it's going to be a big day from the bottom, but I know that I have to work on being more patient. Like we got in way too early. into this Palantir. This was a good trade. So what I'm thinking is all of the trades that I'm in, especially early, seem to be working. Oh, yeah, that's right. No Adair, we haven't had one update today. So no crypto, no nothing.
Haven't heard any.
No nothing today. I haven't heard one piece of news today. But if you are joining us, normally we will have news being read and different updates. Like right now, we'll generally go over Forex and what's been happening there on the broader market. So I'll just... you know, my passion for the show doesn't stop simply by trading. That is obvious. I wouldn't, you know, like I was quite frankly embarrassed. I finally took, I think last week I had three sick days, maybe 4 sick days. Those are the first 4 sick days in 3 years. And I still don't feel that great, to be honest with you. But let's just have a quick look here. Consumer discretionary is leading the way today, up 1%. Wow. Good name there for consumer discretionary. Again, part of that, we can click it and see what's going on there. But Tesla, going to be a big part of that as well. We talked about the financials, and I said like buying JP Morgan off that 50-period moving average. We were looking to diversify a little bit. I think financials for me is the right spot. I mean, the big banks that I own still be here in Canada. I mean, I've been buying them forever. What a waste of time that's been. All right, real estate, energy. Like if I could do it all over again, man, I wouldn't change that much. I would probably buy more indexes, less marijuana stocks. All right, right there, the information technology, obviously, as the NASDAQ starts to rally right now as well. Materials. What's been on the downside today? Utilities. As again, the flight to safety, people trying to find a dividend, trying to find yield, they're going to get hit a little bit there today. I don't know exactly what's going on with energy. We can have a look there, but that's probably something. Consumer services, so comm services, again. And you could just sort of, if you do use TradingView, I think it's pretty cool because you could just click on it and then you can find out which components are part of this, right, and where they're moving. So today, for example, Warner Brothers upside, Match Group down, Verizon down, EA Sports down. So this one right here, nice upside move. Walt Disney up today as well. What is the price of Walt? 113 and change. All right, we were looking at that. We were looking at that around 109, and I talked about that the other day, and actually didn't mind Disney. Come on, Palantir.
There's a badass show on Disney right now.
Yeah, Palantir is. Yeah, the best show I ever watched on Disney, I think, was The Bear. But right now, we'll wait. We watched some Simpsons, but that's getting lame. All right, so the thing I was going to say was Palantir still $3 in the money, but look at this Disney. So again, it's not all gloom and doom, man. This is why diversification is pretty important, right? You guys know that we're in some Disney, and it's been holding out okay. I have not looked at the long-term portfolio this week. I looked at it at the beginning of the week, so I know that what that number was. I think we're probably down 10+% on that, which is going to hurt for sure. But again, we're playing the long game. So the Bear is a goat of the show. What's up, medical marijuana? Oh, medical marinara. That's pretty funny, man.
Medical marinara.
I like that name, medical marinara.
That's a great name.
What was the show on Disney you mentioned? Sorry,
no, it's Paradise. I haven't seen The Bear, so I can't judge if
it was okay.
It
got going good, but then
the best I can say for Paradise is I hesitate to say what it is because it's got enough twists in it that you almost don't want to know what it's about before you watch.
Is it a Disney or a Stars or?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Who's
but
in
it's got the dude that played Darden in the O.J. Simpson thing is in it.
Oh, okay. I have.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, this guy right
here. He's pretty legit. The dude.
Paradise.
What's that guy's name again? No, him. What's that guy's name on the left? I forget his name.
This guy, I have no idea. Oh, here we go. James Marsden. Yeah, they're right down here. Sterling Brown, James Marsden. Okay.
Episode 7 of this show. If you can bet on Emmys, is going to win Emmys.
You can bet on that. Yeah, it looks like it's a Hulu show. So
is it Hulu? Okay,
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, no, but
it's a good
Disney's Disney Plus is where it's streaming. So okay, Paradise. All right, we'll look that up. I heard something Day of the Jackal is supposed to be good. That's Sniper.
Yeah, but where do you even watch that? I can't watch that.
Oh,
it must be on Crave.
Yeah. I have all that.
I gotta pay for HBO, man. I gotta dump something and pay for HBO, but the problem is
I think I'm north of $100 on all this.
I pay for everything. I have Apple TV. They have great science fiction. I have Netflix. I've got Disney.
We started watching Severance.
Severance is good.
Yeah,
it's kind of slowing down, but.
Is it? Yeah, we're not even in the Day of the Jackal. Yeah. Peacock.
The movie's good.
Okay, Peacock, so NBC. They filmed Reacher on my street one episode. Season 3, episode 3, I think. 2 houses beside me. They used our driveway. They paid us
Season 3 episode. What season are they on now?
I have no idea. They paid us $100. Can you believe that, to use our driveway?
Season 3, episode 3. Okay.
I was like, I wish I was home, man. Marissa was just like, hey, look at this $100 bill these guys just gave me. I get home.
But then you're
Yeah, there's lights on our driveway. There's huge ass lights. This big, strong Australian guy's
pictures
walking.
of this?
Yeah, this was 2 years ago. Yeah, we talked about it on the show. I tweeted it out and everything like
All
that.
right, okay.
Yeah, man, I saw that guy's a monster. I don't even know what his name is. The guy in Reacher.
He's from
When I saw that guy, I was like, is this for real?
Mountain State. That's the football.
I think he's Australian, isn't he, or something, or New Zealand, or something like that. Anyways,
He's probably
I know it's still airing.
Probably used some gear. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I have no idea.
He's definitely on gear, right? Like, yeah, he's way too big. That dude is like, he's yoked.
Is that his name, Thad
He's
Castle?
yoked.
Oh.
Way too yoked. There's a certain level of yoked that's like, yeah, that like maybe, but if you're an actor, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say probably you're on the gear. All right, Tesla is.
Hey, nobody's real anymore, my guy.
Well, there's like lots of clean bodybuilders. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just not usually looking like that.
Yeah, you're assuming, yeah.
They're out there.
All right. So, all right. Any quick ideas there? I know you mentioned that
next
the
one's
morning is what it is.
Tesla is holding day-long trend. Let me get rid of this in here. It's holding day-long trend, at least for now. So waiting for it to confirm. We confirmed this on the triple point, so now one can start looking off this trend. Otherwise, it's just going to be VWAP. Rocket Labs is a nothing burger for me. NVIDIA doesn't want to seem to get to that 125 as well. Intel is not doing anything since reverting off of yesterday's high. So this is, I know I had said like 15 minutes ago, if we retest the high, look for a short off of that high. In that entire time, Intel's now moved 10 cents. I don't expect a stock it's moved $2 to have a 10-cent range forever. But if it doesn't press this high soon, it looks like it could just be a continuation back into VWAP. So Tesla trend line, IBIT, no trades yet. Kind of looking back to that 47 for IBIT. Here's IBIT. Kind of looking back into that 47. Once it's gone parabolic up, if I'm not shorting that, then I'm waiting for it to give me some kind of a reasonable dip buy trade over in IBIT. So those are the ones that I'm watching on to. Rocket Lab, I feel like it was the right call to get out of it at the time. So we got out at 20, still holding that 20.5 level. So this is still available for the short. I almost would prefer if it ran the high, failed the high one more time, gave you a topping tail candle for an entry. But we can still hunt for it to break down underneath that support at 19.8. So just waiting for the next available trade. I see Showtime just said Riley boom. I hope so. We've been rooting for Riley to go up. I know we had a viewer that was long the sucker at 5, and I can't imagine any way you didn't get profit on that, hopefully. But Riley has not broken out the top just yet. Big squeeze potential name. It's going. This is a good one if it can break out the highs because it's so ridiculously heavily shorted. Upwards of 50%, I believe, on Riley, or close to the 50% mark. But that's 750. It's still 10% away from breaking out that top. Yeah, just going to have to work back to either Rocket Labs. It's the same names. Tesla, Rocket Labs, Intel. That's pretty much it, because AMD is now, I mean, it's still above that 100.5 level. So it's holding on to support where I liked resistance. That's not a recipe to get back into a short trade.
Right, we got to have some more Palantir. Let me talk about some trades that I'm going to be looking forward to making as, people in the chat wondering why there's been no trades. I mean, honestly, my style is completely different and, definitely trading more share sizes, looking for the best opportunities. And then if you want to talk to me about them, you can. So that's what I'm doing. All right, so just really quickly here. I like this 169.50 for Google. So as the midday show is going to come in just 30 seconds, we can wait out for that. But there's 169.50. I like it for a short against 170. So that could be coming up into play. But I don't want to be counter to all of these moves, right? I mean, right now the market is upside. So when I'm looking for the futures here, I want to play pullbacks. Look at the 50-period moving average, right? This is when I trade the best. And I said this to Marissa. I was like, I just told her, we were down more early than anybody's months. So that's what that was. And then we made it all back. So as we go here, right, that's going to be the problem. And I just need to be more patient because and again, this is why I'm talking like this. I actually had a move there where if I was just being more patient, then the last couple days could have actually been decent days, but instead we were just battling back to getting flat. So that's why right now I'm trying to sit on my hands a little bit, because I could use less shares and get in there and trade for you guys, but then do you really want to see me lose or make 15 or 20 cents on some of these plays? You know, that's not going to be good enough for my strategy. So I'm going to try to look for something a little bit more. So look at this, 50 period, 50 period, 50 period, you know, and I do gain some of this as well from watching and sitting beside traders like Neo's strategies, Obi's, Sharif's, Joe's. We all have different things and different ways to look at it, right? I mean, I think that when you're doing small cap gappers, you can wait sometimes. Some of these plays, like they're up 300%, you know, so it's like you don't necessarily need to jump right into them. Maybe they'll pull back 100%. Yeah, they'll go from 300% to 200%, right? So that's a completely different style altogether again as well. So
like I'll make a bold prediction.
Yeah.
This might not be so bold. Sharif might be looking at, oh no, maybe not. Never mind. I was going to say NVNI, but then I realized the stock is, while the stock has gone up 200 or 100 and something percent, it's down 50%. But this is a small capper that's been going absolutely ham. Maybe he's looking at it. I have no idea. But it's down 50%. It's done 50 million shares, and it just failed the $1 level. I thought this is the one he'd be looking at, but it could be NXTT. That's another one that's moving around here.
I'm not trading 50,000 shares of Palantir. Can you believe that? Imagine we are $3 in the money on 50,000 shares, guys. We would just shut the lights off. Okay.
Around here, we take 50K. You take a couple of cents on those types of trades. Like as a day trader, like it's scalp like really, really quick.
And we have the ability to do that. And that's what I'm saying
do
about different styles, right? Like if you're trading in Neo or back in the day with Siri or other names that don't really move that much, you know, you can have the ability to just line it up. Like you would never take. Even 10,000 shares of Palantir is like, depending on where your stops are, that's going to be a lot. Like just this one trade that I was in.
Put up a level 2 and see the liquidity. That's
exactly. Like if you take 10,000 shares right here, this goes against me 40 cents. So like that's $4,000. If you're able to sit in that and watch that, then that's fine. But like I'm not taking 10,000 share defaults like when I'm punching long. So don't worry about that. But at the end of the day, look, good talk. This is what we're trying to do every single day. We're trying to show you different styles, different strategies. Try to talk about the calmness of trading and then the excitedness of it as well. Trying to look at scanners, trying to talk everything. I mean, look at real trading here. You know what? Before we throw over there, I'm going to show you yesterday's top profitable traders. Okay, so I'm going to get up yesterday's top traders here at Real Trading. Now that we're actually talking about numbers, let's do it. So I can't make these up. I have not looked at these. So here we go. This is Trader Information Portal. Compare your profits. So I'm just going to refresh it. I just loaded it up. I just want to make sure it was from yesterday. So okay. So there we go. So here we go. Yet top 10 traders from yesterday. So these are the top 10 traders over. There's probably about 1,500 or 1,800 live traders right now at Real Trading. I'll go back and find out that exact number for you. But yesterday's top trader made 17. This is all US dollars. So yesterday's top trader made 17,000. And these are the markets that were traded, right? And so someone traded Amex, so probably Spiders or an ETF, along with NASDAQ. Then you got the futures. We talked about that. So that's going to be Chicago CME. And here at Real Trading, we have over 60 markets that are lit up that you can trade. So, and as you can see though, even though yesterday was a huge short day, right, in the market, look at these numbers. They're not blowing anybody out of the water, right? Amex, NASDAQ, New York, NASDAQ, Amex, NASDAQ, NASDAQ. There's some Canada love as well down there at $7,000. So someone that's just focusing on the TSX there, Shopify, big banks, sounds all like that. There's Blue Ocean, which of course is the overnight trading. So someone there in Hong Kong, obviously.
I'm betting you that's Alibaba because the tariff talk, someone was banking on Baba.
Or someone just trading, like they're trading Hong Kong and see an opportunity there. It could be like shorting Tesla or something, or Baba, good call. And then we have Amex and the NASDAQ. So right into there, right? And so, anyways, that's what that is as we go. But so far so good. Those are the average days that some traders can have. I don't know what the down days are, probably a lot worse.
That's something they don't publish, wish they never did.
Yeah, they never will.
But remember, before we get back, we're going to throw to the midday, guys. We're back at 2 o'clock. It is an MSCI rebalancing day, so there is going to be, when we come back in the afternoon, there's likely to be really large numbers in Locator and some potential plays in the last 10 minutes of the day, which are a little bit different, but we've talked about them. We'll get to those. For now, it's the Bash Brothers. And if you have any more questions, we had some good questions about options. You're going to have Joe Joey Options and the professor there to lock you guys down. So good luck. I have a distinct feeling the Playmaker poll is going right back to betting on green.
Longs.
I would hope so. First time they bet short yesterday and lost.
Doing it live.
What is up?
Oh.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That's your boy